Welcome in. It's 9 to noon, and we are about to labor on this Tuesday into game week of the NFL season. It's finally here. You've waited so long. All those hot summer days, simply watching baseball, all those days just watching whatever track and field event, breaking any kind of Olympic sport that you didn't even know existed, all to get to this week where there's NFL football kicking off in earnest coming up on Thursday. Our guy John Kuhn jumping on a bird early tomorrow morning to Sao Paulo, Brazil, and the Packers season is 3 days away. I'm Billy Schmidt, Armin Sarian's right there, and our guy John Kuhn with all of you on the NicoletLaw.com talk and text line. John, we are inside of 24 hours away from you hopping on that extra long, really long jet, right?
Big plane.
Maybe an extra fuel tank or so in there as well, because we're going to go 10 and a half hours. We found a way to do it from Austin Straubel all the way down to Sao Paulo, Brazil. My excitement is at like a 83 for Packers football starting up here in 3 days from right now. I can't imagine what yours is.
83, not 100.
Well, you can't start, John, if you can't give it to him all the way.
Gotta peak there on Friday at 7:15.
Oh,
yeah.
Okay. No, I'm jacked up. Week one's finally here, and there's a Thursday game. We got a Friday game. We got the games on Sunday, and then a Monday night bash. So, hey, let's roll. How great was this past weekend? Week one of college football.
It didn't suck.
And if you thought this was fun, I mean, we're only cranking it up because we're going to sprinkle college football in there on Saturday with all these games Thursday, Friday, Saturday, Sunday, Monday. We're back to football nearly every day of the week. Do we have Maction? Do we have Maction on Wednesday?
Probably.
Maction will start into October, I believe.
There's no Wednesday?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, I believe Maction really starts up in October. But I will check the college football's calendar for sure. But it is, and John, I think this is exactly what the Tuesday, October 8th. I think this is exactly what the NFL had dreamed of and cooked up when they thought about this opener somewhere else, right? Like it didn't have to be in Brazil. It could have been in Munich. It could be in Barcelona at some point. This Friday night game, I'll tell you right now, here to stay for the NFL. And I believe that this kickoff weekend bash, John, is their first way of fully dipping their toes into. They're going to have damn near an international game every single week. And it gets out of the Sports Broadcasting Act of, I believe, 1963. So you can play and broadcast an NFL professional game in the United States that is not played within 50 miles of a high school or college on a Friday night. So they're free and clear of the FCC at this point. And the NFL is sticking this flag firmly in the ground, and I'm in for it. Like, I'm excited that the Packers are the first ones to get a taste of it, but I'm excited to see where this goes, because this Thursday, Friday NFL kickoff is only going to get bigger and bigger and bigger, especially when it potentially goes to Labor Day. But we'll save that for another day.
We don't take away. We don't take, unless it's hits and special teams, we don't take away from the NFL.
Yeah.
Everything else that arrives is here to stay. 17 games, here to stay. We're going to 18, people.
They're not going back.
Used to it.
Right.
17, we're going to 18. Just get used to it. It's going to be a weird feel. How do you get symmetrical with 18 games? 17 actually fell right into a really nice symmetry that you could put together there. Nonetheless, 18 games out will be here. We're not taking 17. You get yourself a Thursday, Friday kickoff, because here's the deal. Thursday was always incredible. It was a great way to kick off the season. But then you're like, man, I got to wait 2 more days just for college football, 3 more days for the NFL. No, we're going to take Thursday and Friday. We'll let college have their Saturday. We're going to take Thursday and Friday. We'll give a day off where you can watch some of the college football, and then we're right back at it. Right back at it, Sunday, Monday.
Yeah, eventually we will have games every week, every day of the week. You know that, right? That's just the way we're going. One day it will happen that there will be games every day of the week, and it will be totally dominated by football. Our entire landscape will be dominated by football.
From September to the end of the year, will thoroughly be dominated by football.
I mean,
like,
that's
already
what it is.
Kind of is. Like, think of the NBA season. Christmas Day was their quasi opener, right?
Yep.
25 games in, we're ramping into the season. We're going to get our best version of the players, and NFL's like, hey, excuse me, there's seats at this table. We'd like to sit here. We'd like to sit here and have dinner. Oh, by the way, we're going to bring in our crew here, and nobody is going to care about Lakers Warriors
And
ever
we're going to
again.
just knock everything off the table, and it's our table
And now it's our day. Now it's our day.
Yeah.
Like college football said, we can AccuS. Like we know you guys are going to open up on that Thursday night. There's no college football games on Thursday night. Now there are on Friday night, and now quickly Duke is going to realize, oh damn, us against Northwestern isn't the only game in town. Now that there's an NFL game, we're going to draw a 0.04 on FS1. We should probably get away from this too. Like the NFL, as much as Mark Cuban was hoping that the pigs get fat, hogs get slaughtered, this hog is not getting slaughtered anytime soon. It is only doubling up. And John, as you mentioned, not giving anything back. Like we're not going any closer to less games, less football, less attention paid to football, especially when, I mean, we've talked about it for the last, 2 months, 2 weeks, really, really intensely. All the storylines off the field, like our guy Trent Williams last night, jumping on his private jet with a beautiful black lab, apparently going back to San Francisco. Now, I think Trent Williams would have been an amazing Tennessee Titan. Like to think of him just fantasizing about how he's always wanted to be a Cincinnati Bengal, like that would have been so much better than having to watch him once again trot out in that San Francisco uniform. However, it appears that they're getting all their Avengers back there in Santa Clara.
Yeah, funny how things just work themselves out here eventually.
It's unreal.
I was really thinking that Trent Williams was going to sit some games, right? We saw Chris Jones a year ago sit out the first game.
Yeah,
I thought there was potential that he could sit out some games on this. Brandon Ayuk gets his contract situated, and now Trent Williams looks to get his contract situation. Now we have talked about this. I'm interested to see what kind of knee the 49ers took on this. What kind of knee the 49ers bent. Yeah. Is this a Trent Williams, we'll give you the money that's in your contract, but we'll just give it to you now. We're not going to make you wait until year 3. By the way, Trent Williams cash out for year 2024, about $20 million. Cash out for 2025, about $23 million. Cash out for 2026, $33 million. Now, Trent saying, this is a contract that I signed. $33 million. I don't want all that money in that last year. If you got $33 million in that last year, I could be done. Let's give it to me now.
Yeah,
let's get some of that $33 million now. You don't have to give me an extension, but you give me, let's just call it and even 13 out of that 33 right here on this season. Now I'm making 33 this season and 20 in the last season. Just flip flop the first and the third season, and I'll be right back in there. That's one that I fully accept as a hold in.
Oh, I'd be cool with that.
Kind of. Yeah. No, I'm fine. I'm fine. But you're not extending, or are you extending? Do they do a 2-3 year extension on the back end of this and throw new money into this?
Yeah.
That's where it gets sketchy. That's where you don't know. Nonetheless, Trent Williams on a plane back to San Francisco. Will he be at practice today, tomorrow, the next day?
Well, Diana Rossini says it's an extension. Now, I don't know.
We got a little insider off here. It sounds
kind of. It seemed like that because it looked like
Ian Rappaport had said no new money, no new deal, no extension. They're figuring it out between them. It's just us friends getting together, solving the world's problems and solving Trent Williams' contract dispute. John,
ending his holdout, right?
Ending his holdout, right? Yeah. And that money that you mentioned of how they, how linguistically, right? We change it so that you can get money now and, change it up from the back end of your deal. At some particular point in the NFL timeline, fans just looked at that and said, damn, what a good guy. What a good guy. He's taking some of his money from, the back end of his contract, is shaving it off. No, he's reducing his salary cap by taking some of the money at the back end as a bonus now. And let me see that money up front before I go and put a uniform on. At some point in time, that looked like, hey, he's doing the team a solid. Now he kind of is, but there's also not a big ask from the player side of, hey, we're going to give you this money up front to be able to move around the salary numbers for us. If they do add on some of those phony years and things like that at the back end, it would make it interesting because he's 36. He doesn't seem like he's slowing down at all. And that's why I understand 36 is some hesitancy to add new years on, but he's got 3 years. I wonder if they do just lock him up 2 more. We'll add some of these phony years to spread out the cap number. And then all of a sudden you're like, how is Trent Williams still under contract at 44 years old?
Right.
Well, because there's trying to do anything they can there in San Francisco to put some money into his pocket now.
A lot of times, if you need to spread out the cap, because I mean, they did just play. They did just pay Brandon Ayuk, his $30 million a year.
Yep.
They did just pay him that.
Very
So now
front-loaded.
they're going to have to pay Brock Purdy after this season because he wasn't a first-round draft pick and doesn't have a fifth-round option or a fifth-year option. So they're going to have to pay him. There are other defensive players that they're going to have to pay coming up in the coming years, and probably some more offensive players at some point in time. They just paid Christian McCaffrey again this offseason. So the money doesn't stop when you have a team full of Bowsers like the 49ers do. Now, those void years that you said, Billy, that's an opportunity for the 49ers to take Trent Williams' number, give him more money now, and put on void years at the end. So it spreads it out and it makes it more cap friendly and manageable going into next season and the season after, which it looks like will be the last 2 years that he plays for the 49ers. I think Trent Williams can probably play till he's 39. Remind me, who was the tackle that just kept playing into his 40s? He was with the Eagles most recently, as I remember.
Jason Peters.
Yes, Jason Peters.
Freak show.
Very much a freak like Trent Williams was. But Trent Williams, to me, in a little bit better shape than Peters was, so he could potentially do it into his 40s as well.
Yeah, Jason Peters started as a special teams player. Started at tight end.
It's pretty amazing.
Then all of a sudden, as John said, became a 6'4", 330-pound mauler of an offensive tackle and HOF cat. Joel Corey, former NFL agent, now with CBS Sports, did point this part out, and it's the interesting logistics of the hold-ins, hold-out. Now we're still seeing Jamar Chase. Don't necessarily know Jamar Chase can be playing, and that's going to make our NFL predictions coming up here in about 10 minutes quite interesting for one individual on the radio program that might have the Cincinnati Bengals as a prominent figure in his AFC playoff picture. Jamar Chase, we'd like to see if that one gets figured out. But Joel Corey said the 49ers can't waive Williams' training camp fines because he is under a veteran contract since he was signed as a unrestricted free agent as well. There's also a penalty of a 1 week's base salary for each missed preseason game. My understanding is his restructures for salary cap purposes don't negate this. So he is getting fined. However, John, we're talking about the kind of money that Trent Williams is going to get up front here. I don't think that $4.5 million is going to, I don't know that he's ultimately going to worry about that stuff going on the other side.
Yeah.
I think he'll be okay when he sees that big 30 mil.
But he's, like I said, the cap is around 20 right now before they move some things around. So we'll wait and see how this whole thing plays itself out. But Trent Williams back on a plane to San Francisco and in the facility.
Yeah,
so
I would have.
I mean, that's bad news for the rest of the NFC. Good news for the 49ers.
Big bad news for the rest of the NFC. I would agree, Armin.
Whenever a video leaks out, not leaks out, but whenever the video comes out of
Man was
guys
looking cool outside that private
guys
jet.
getting off a jet, or a private plane. It's always how that works. Guys getting off a private jet. Something must be happening. A deal must be done. That's how it always
going down.
works.
Unless he was just going to, have a play date with his dog with Kirk Herbstreit.
It's possible. Kirk flies his dog everywhere.
My man Ben just lives like the coolest life ever. You see him napping on Saturday night during that Texas A&M Notre Dame game. They're just calling the game. Ben's just chilling there. He's just like, hey, wake me up when this football.
I saw somebody complain about that. Like, why you fly your dog around with you to loud stadiums? I'm like, are you kidding me? That dog doesn't want to be anywhere else but right there by his owner, right? Isn't
right
that
here, right now?
Golden Retriever, isn't that where he wants to be?
You know the backstory on the dog, right? What's it, Benny?
Not really sure. I don't think I do.
Okay, so Benny was diagnosed with cancer in like March, and a couple surgeries to remove a couple cysts. And Kirk just wants to spend as much time with them as possible,
Of course.
in these twilight years. And who can blame him? Benny loves every second of this.
Oh,
right?
yeah,
absolutely.
Now,
Come on,
dude.
He's a golden retriever. He loves it.
Who doesn't want their dog around him, especially in year 10? Who doesn't want them around? I remember when Buckwheat, RIP, when Buckwheat hit like 10 years old, I looked around and I thought to myself a lot, man, enjoy every day with them.
Yeah.
Because this thing's going to come to an end pretty darn soon.
Dude, TikTok gets me on that every single day. At least once a day.
So I give props to Kirk for having the not only want to, but the power to do that and have Benny with them every single second. If I could listen, Buckwheat was right here, sitting right here
Cool
in my studio with me. But if I could have brought him on the Packers sideline with me during games, oh yeah, I would have brought him. But he would have definitely tried to bite, a Philadelphia Eagle or tried to bite a Chicago Bear or something, just like Uga did to that was an Alabama player, wasn't it?
Might have been,
player.
Tennessee, Alabama. My fascination with Benny's ability to just not have to go. Right. Like, I mean, him, like, because Kirk walks him around on the field. Like, he's chilling with Kirk while he's walking around talking to the coaches pregame. I assume he's doing it on Thursday nights too, John. Like, when they do the game in Detroit, Packers and Lions, Benny will just be cooling it, walking around on the field. Like, hey, man, I walk around with Bella in there. She sees that much green, John. We're squatting at some point. It's pretty good that Benny is just saying, hey, I understand. I'll hold off. And I'll be safe.
Uga, the fifth V. That's the fifth, right? Uga V.
Correct.
He in '96 he tried to bite wide receiver of Auburn, Robert Baker, during a game.
I was gonna say, because we're way past the fifth. I think we just lost the 11th.
No, I know. There's been more Uga since.
11th,
There's been more Uga since. What Uga are we on? I
want to say we're on Uga 10, but I'm not positive. 414-799-1973. If you can give us that information. Bear in Beaver Dam said Ben was the only reason why I watched that game. I love that.
Yeah. There you go.
Only reason why my wife was still watching was to be able to hang out and be able to see a couple of shots of the dog. Love this one from Greg and Franklin. One of our, let's just say this, one of our more
friendly,
agitated, friendly texters. Coon, since you're still here, means that my early happy birthday wish gets to you. Believe it's tomorrow or the 5th. Have a great trip and enjoy the sights in Brazil. That's fast. That's beautiful. Now this trip is going to end potentially one of our favorite pieces of this show is the John Coon birthday show. Correct? No?
Well,
Greg's just totally off here.
When was he off? Like, what's the deal?
Armin, you know when my birthday is.
Absolutely.
Exactly.
John Coon birthday. I'm not good with birthdays. I never was. And we do this every year.
Armin's so nervous.
It is not a reflection on how I feel about the person. If I don't remember their exact birthday, I'm not a birthday date person. Like, I don't remember dates. But I do believe, because I think it's a day after my sister's birthday. My sister's birthday.
Are you asking or telling?
I don't know your sister's birthday.
Hold on. Hold on.
It's not a reflection of how he feels about the person. He likes your sister too.
Okay. My sister's birthday is September 8th. I think you're September 9th. So I think I'm happy.
You would be correct.
9-9.
I got it.
You'd be correct.
All right.
9-9.
I didn't want to. I thought I knew. I just didn't want to get it wrong again. So that's why.
So is this a yearly occurrence, John, for Armin for getting your birthday
last year? Right? Didn't I do that, or something happened last year where I didn't get it right?
I have.
Yeah. Well, I'm not. I'm not. You got to let me know. Like even you, Billy. Like I knew because something had. Like you guys got to let me know because I'm not. I don't remember dates. So. That's why I wanted to pump my horses a bit. I just wanted to pump my horses.
You know, we got big plans for the birthday show this year. All kinds of big plans for the birthday show.
We always do something
However, I've been warned. It is the Monday after Brazil. You still need to have your guests on. You still need to talk about Packers, Eagles. It can't be all about you.
No, I know.
Birthday, you make it every single year. I said, well, I'm making it about me. It's going to be about me and the Nooners. We're giving gifts out. We're playing the game. We're going to have some fun on the Monday of my birthday. That's just the way it's going to be. But we will talk Packers, Eagles, just like we'll talk Packers, Eagles today and get you ready for that game.
I like to think we can accomplish both. I like to think we can accomplish both. I do believe we can. We can still cover all things Packers, Eagles. And still, and still bump Mob Deep or whatever you like to do for your birthday.
And still apparently also fit in some puppy talk because Chuck and West Bend just sent us a picture of Mir, the new Celia, 12-week-old Mastiff. And also
that's a Mastiff puppy? Wow.
Yeah.
That's pretty cool. You see Mastiffs, they're huge dogs. You see it as a puppy.
Well, they start small.
Well, I get it.
They do start small. Pat and Red Wing. Can you let us get our shooting shirts off here for a second? Fellas, come on. It's Packers week 1. Brewers are on fire. I'm sure there's Bucs stuff to talk about. Oh,
yes, there is.
Actually, if you hadn't seen Dame Lillard on that bike, we're going to talk about that coming up here, Pat and Red Wing.
I hope he just crushes this year. Wouldn't it be awesome if Dame just came out angry and just go? Because that video looks pretty cool, doesn't it? With that, well, we'll talk about it.
Hey,
talk
he's
about it.
working.
He's
Or we'll
working.
stutter
working.
about it. We'll either
Working.
stutter about it or talk
No,
about
we'll
it.
talk about it. What? Yeah, Mastiff puppy. I don't think I've seen one of those.
Mastiff puppy.
Beautiful dog.
Is that even more beautiful than the beautiful pup that's wearing the number 11 jersey running around for the Milwaukee Brewers? I don't know that anything's better than that beautiful gift from the baseball gods of Jackson Churio. Sweet.
He's a
Lord.
dog. He's a dog at this point.
Oh, you're not even giving him a pup moniker.
Yeah,
He's got that dog in him.
He grew up quick.
18 bombs and his second granny puts him in some pretty amazing company that will rattle off throughout the day as well. Yeah, Brewers on fire. Trust us. Pat, let us get our shooting shirts off. Let us get rolling. Let us give you our NFL season predictions because they're coming straight ahead. We got Matt Schneidman talking about his conversation with Matt LaFleur in 40 minutes from right now. Oh, we're just getting warmed up. We're just getting started. We're starting out a beautiful game week as NFL season is here. That's John Kuhn. I'm Billy Schmidt. Armin Sarian's there as well. It's 9 to noon on the Game. 9 to noon, broadcasting live from the Iron Jock Studios. That's John Kuhn. I'm Billy Schmid, Armin Sari, and right there, Iron Jock T-shirts, the best T-shirt on the planet. No body odor smell ever. Even if you sweat as much as I do, running around spotting the football at practice. Now through September 15th, you buy 2 of them things, the small logoed ones, short sleeve T-shirts, you get a 3rd one for free. That's a $39 value. Free when you buy 2 Iron Jock T-shirts. Just enter promo code T-shirt BOGO. T-shirt BOGO at checkout. Go to ironjock.com for more details. That's ironjoc.com. AFC, NFC, NFL predictions. Now, granted, generally we fire this thing up on day of opening game. Now, last year, day of opening game, we were doing a lot of the contract conversation where we were saying, hey, man, Chris Jones going to play? Is he one of the best players of the reigning defending Super Bowl champions? Is he ever going to play? And we had a talking text listener ask us, John, why does nobody have Chris Jones's gall? Uses a different word. Why do they not have the intestinal fortitude of Chris Jones? Or maybe they just don't have the agent, because if I remember that correctly, he didn't exactly get a winning deal by sitting out game 1. Instead, he just got fined and his team lost to the Detroit Lions in game 1 and ultimately had to go on the road for 2 big playoff games.
Do you know, got different strokes for
Tough,
different folks, different strokes for different folks. And that's the way that it just pans out sometimes. He took a big old massive fine. He watched his team lose. I mean, at the end of the day, these guys are in contract negotiations, and very few. I mean, we've seen the Le'Veon Bells or
Melvin Gordon.
Sure.
Yeah.
A guy that just gets so irritated by the business side of things. Like, he just wants off the team.
Mm-hmm.
He just wants off the team, and he wants to go. More times than not, these guys that are looking for their extensions, they still love their team. They still love their players. They want to win and go to the Super Bowl. So Chris Jones, I'm sure that pained him to sit out and watch them lose that game. If people remember, Emmitt Smith held out in, I believe, 93. And when he did, they lost their first 2 games.
Mm-hmm.
And
Yeah,
they were
now it's a
supposed
big-
to repeat. They were supposed to repeat. They did repeat, but after they lost the second game, that was a big push for Emmitt to come back. I don't know what the money was at that time. I didn't care what the money was at that time. As a Cowboy fan, I just wanted him to come back. He was back. I didn't care. He's back. Good. Let's go.
Yeah.
That's the way they were last year in Kansas City. And I'm sure that pained him to watch his team lose those first 2 games that year.
Yeah, but you know what? In a way, I'm sure for those guys, it proves their point to them, right? So in a way, they're probably feeling pretty good about it. And I think a lot of people felt that way about Emmitt at the time. Like, look, you lost with Emmitt. You guys got to get him back and start winning again. And you know, maybe even though Chris Jones didn't get a deal he dreamed about, he probably felt a little bit of hubris. Like, I proved my point.
Ended up getting a pretty nice deal this year.
He got it. And it's like, listen, I know I'm not pocket watching, but these guys are getting paid a lot of money. So it's like, you know, you're going to get your money. These guys are going to get their money. Ayuk got his money. All these guys are going to be rich. So it is what it is. Let's just play some football, right? A lot of fans feel that way.
Let's play some football and let's figure out who is going to be playing January football, because there's nothing like predicting who is going to win the whole damn thing before we've even started it up here on 9 to noon. Now, again, generally we fire this up a little earlier. John's going to be on the team plane. That leaves early tomorrow morning.
Yeah, you have wake-up calls early, huh? You get a good nap on that plane, though, John. I think you get a 10-hour, 45-minute gate.
You bringing a pillow?
So
you bringing your own pillow?
They better have pillows on there.
There you go. Tell them.
I don't have the space to bring a pillow. I don't have the space to bring a pillow. Ride back from the last preseason game. Me and Larry had to put our bags in the seat between us. Stack them up.
Good. You gotta love that. I love that. Hey, are you raw dogging it?
Pause.
What is
you know about this, right? That's the new trend on flights.
Jeez Louise, dude.
No. It's a trend on
School
flights.
just started. Like, I get the kids are in class, but I mean, come on.
It's a term for flying, raw dogging it, where you do nothing but stare. No, it's true. You stare at the back of the flight. You David Putty it. You stare at the back of the seat the whole flight. No food, no water, no entertainment. It's called raw dogging it. It's the new trend on flights. I'm telling you, look it up. I'm not being weird or anything. I know the term sometimes is used. It's called raw dogging a flight. So you're not going to do that, right, John?
Wow. Okay.
You're gonna watch movies or something like that.
Yeah, I'm not gonna.
Jeez.
Raw dog. 10-hour and 45 minutes.
I'm telling you, that's the term.
Wow.
Don't laugh. Hey, it's on the internet. It's pretty.
Oh, prevalent. Yeah, you can't lie on there. Nothing on Urban Dictionary that you can't say on 20,000 watt radio station.
It is the trend. People look here.
Sick son of a gun.
GQ. Why men are raw dogging flights. June 24th.
Keep saying it.
I'm just saying that's what they're calling it.
So is that how you do a
John's,
flight? You just
John's
sit there and look at the back of the seat?
I was doing it before everybody else did. You know, everyone's like, Armin, aren't you going to bring any movies to watch?
This is how you've always done it.
I'm just sitting
You've
there.
You've always been raw dogging it.
I always sit there. Yes, okay. And I don't like reading on it because I'm usually falling asleep or something like that. So,
wow. Okay. 414.
So I guess the answer is no. That's all I want to know. The answer is no. John's not doing that.
I almost feel like we need to take a mental rehabilitation time before we fire up our predictions.
No, we're predicting games. So let's go.
Okay.
Predicting teams.
Okay.
I thought you guys had heard about that. I'm sorry.
It's awesome. It's awesome
everywhere on all the everything you look at, TikTok and whatever you look at.
Yeah. Oh, I've heard it plenty of times. I just liked hearing you say it on a radio station multiple times. All right, John.
I don't know. It's just what it is. It's what it's called.
NFL predictions. AFC, NFC. We're talking during the break. NFC might be even tougher to be selecting than the AFC side right now because there's a lot of good quarterbacks on the AFC side. Don't really know a whole lot on the NFC side. Let's fire it up. Let's start with the AFC.
I'll go one by one here. The teams that I think are winning their division, and I do think the AFC is easier to pick. It's just you have a feel here. Kansas City Chiefs, I will never not pick them as long as Patrick Mahomes is their quarterback. I will never not pick them as long as he's their quarterback. I will not. Kansas City Chiefs are going to win the West. The Baltimore Ravens are going to win the North. I liked what I saw out of them when they came into town. Lamar Jackson is the reigning MVP. He is an absolute stud, and they increase the firepower around him if they stay healthy. And we know that the Baltimore Ravens, their bugaboo at the beginning of seasons was the injury bug, but they've always stayed in it. They've always played tough, and they're always right there. Got the Ravens winning the North and the Texans winning the South. I don't think it was a fluke. I hear people say just because he had a good year last year, just because CJ Stroud had a good year last year does not mean he's going to have a good year this year. Sometimes it takes time for defenses to catch up to what a player does. I don't think it's the player. I think it's the player, the scheme, the team, everybody around him, and they only got better adding Stephon Diggs and Joe Mixon. Mm-hmm. Their offense only got better. Got the Texans winning the South. Why? Because there's a lot of teams in the South that I think are meek as well. In the East, I think it's their time. I think it's their time to finally hold the crown of division champion. They had some injuries a few years ago. Last year, it was a battle, but I got the Miami Dolphins winning the AFC East this year.
Wow,
not the Jets.
Okay.
Not the Bills. I got the Miami Dolphins. Devin A-Chain is going to go for 1,800 yards rushing. Tyreek Hill is going to go for 1,800 yards receiving. Mike McDaniels is going to be in his bag. Raheem Mostert is still there as a 32-year-old 4.4 sprinter. I mean, they got a defense now that looks to be very imposing. They had one, but they had a lot of injuries on it as well. I think this is the year that stuff just kind of clicks for the Dolphins. They've been so close. They've been so close the last 2 years to winning that division. I think this is the year they get over the hump. Wild card for the AFC, Billy, is funny. I picked the Dolphins to win the East. I got two more teams from the East making the playoffs. I got the Bills battling it out.
Wow.
I got the Jets battling it out. I got Dolphins, Bills, and Jets all making the playoffs, and I got the Dolphins winning the East. That leaves only one spot left.
That's a stacked East. Yeah, that's a stacked East right there.
We got the Chiefs, the Ravens, the Texans, the Dolphins winning their divisions. And then we got the Bills and Josh Allen. And here's the deal. I don't think Aaron Rodgers needs to be lights out Aaron Rodgers. I just think he needs to be efficient. The one thing that will never slow down is your mind as a player, right? I feel like my mind right now is sharper and faster than midway through my career. I mean, I see so much and it's still right there. I think all you have to be is capable at quarterback with Aaron Rodgers' arm, and you're going to win enough games to make the playoffs. So I got the Jets in there as well. Last team, 7th seed, kind of feels like a sleeper. There are still some teams out there when you talk about, what about the Chargers? What about the Jacksonville Jaguars? What about the Cincinnati Bengals? What about the Cleveland Browns? Pittsburgh Steelers, Mike Tomlin, they never missed the playoffs. I'm not picking any of them. I'm not picking any of them.
He's taking
My last team to make it is the Denver Broncos.
There you
I
go.
think Sean Payton's got them licking their chops. This is rebound year, and Bo Nix, I think, is going to be smart enough and for real enough. Watch for their running backs, McLaughlin and Javonte Williams, to go absolutely nuts this year in that duo scheme. I got the Denver Broncos getting the 7 seed.
Javonte Williams, year 2 off an ACL, could absolutely see him having a massive year. Fantasy people are loving him.
It's a popular late
right
pick.
now.
Yeah,
Yeah.
popular value pick.
We don't have a whole lot of the picks in the AFC the same, which I really, really love. However, first one, yeah, I'm not changing. They just won me a bunch of money in the final game of the 2023 NFL season. Kansas City Chiefs are going to be my number 1 seed. I got them getting back to the home field. They somehow find themselves with the fastest player ever recorded in the 40-yard dash at the combine. Crazy how that happens with Xavier Worthy showing up
And
there.
Hollywood Brown. I mean,
Yeah.
don't sleep
Marquise.
on some of the peaks, some of the pieces that they brought in this year. This is a revamped offense.
Yeah, and you mentioned Devon Achane having a massive year as a running back. I think that's Isaiah Pacheco. Like, you want to talk about somebody that runs harder than anybody else in the NFL, outside of somebody that's, in 4 different weight classes like Derrick Henry is than him. I think Pacheco has a massive year. I also think we've heard Mahomes say it a number of different times last year. He realized, I don't have to be throwing the ball all over the place to win games. I like that. But I do kind of want to throw it deep a little bit more. So I think he's going to have a big year. I think they're going to hit the deep ball a lot with Xavier Worthy and Hollywood Brown once he comes back off the injury. I really like the Chiefs. I think their offense is fantastic. And, oh, by the way, they won the Super Bowl last year because they had one of the best defenses in football, still pretty much back.
Samaje Perine also on board now for them.
Yeah, that's not going to change.
No, it's not going to do anything for you.
I saw a lot of Pacheco owners freaking out.
Freaking out.
Don't worry about it.
They're freaking out about it.
If he catches 2 balls for 24 yards a game, it's not going to limit your touchdown percentage. It's not going to change how many touches he's getting a game. Calm down. You're okay.
And Clyde the Glide is on he's out. He's on the
non-football injury list.
Non-football injury list. Yeah. So.
Yeah, you want to talk about a bust of a first-round pick.
Right,
All
right.
My number 2 seed, winner of the AFC North, returning as the king of the North, the only person to dethrone the Kansas City Chiefs in the AFC playoffs, Joe Burrow and the Cincinnati Bengals.
All right, Bengals are
back
back.
as the number 2 seed, back as the winners of the AFC North. They win a beat-down, drag-them-out division against the Baltimore Ravens, who I have as the 5th seed in that AFC as well. I got 2 teams from the AFC East making it, John. I do have the Buffalo Bills winning the division once again. I love Joe Brady as the offensive coordinator.
Yeah.
I want him for a full season of them leaning in on James Cook a little bit more. Josh Allen, personal chef this year. Best shape of his life season. So he turned down on the golf, stopped drinking as many Coors Lights, and stopped eating fast food. Feels faster and bigger and stronger than he's been. That sounds like a dangerous combination for somebody who last year
was fast, big, and strong.
Maybe could have been the MVP if he didn't turn the ball over 19 times this season.
I'm worried about this. No more fast food, no more beer, no more golf. Is he going to lose his?
Oh, he's still
juice?
playing a little golf. Still playing a
okay.
little golf,
All
but he's
right.
coming
Is he going
home.
to lose his edge?
egg white
That's a good
omelets.
point, Armin.
You know
Is
what
he
I
going
mean?
to lose? Is he going to lose his hardcore edge? Is it going to make him better? Aaron Rodgers literally had 2 different sets of MVPs. He had the MVPs early in his career when he was eating sun chips, peanut
PB,
butter and jelly, and gummy
grape
bears.
and grape soda.
And then he's got the MVPs when he was avocado ice cream and soy-free, gluten-free, and everything else free. So he's got 2 different sets of them things.
Oh, yeah. And the Buffalo Bills are going to want to go with somebody who nobody else is talking about in your fantasy league this year, Khalil Shakir. Watch number 10 Shakir last year be Josh Allen's favorite target at the end of the year, and then see
Billy.
Stephon Diggs out, Gabe Davis out, Shakir easy PPR cat, going to be all over the field. I really, really like where the Bills are at. So I got them winning the division by a game over the Jets, who end up with the 6th seed. And 7 seed for the Jets. The 6th seed is the 2nd place team in the AFC South, the Houston Texans. Houston Texans got a ton of power behind them, a lot of excitement, a lot of heat. Year 2, I just don't think is going to be as great as it was for year 1 for DeMeco Ryans. I think he's a hell of a ball coach. I think they have a great football team. I just think they stumble into a little bit more adversity than they did a year ago. And the last team to beat that Houston Texans team in the AFC South last year was a team that was 8-3 at the time when they won a 24-21 game in the late stages of November. It's the Jacksonville Jaguars. The collapse a year ago for the Jags was real. They lose 5 of their last 6. Trevor Lawrence has a badly sprained ankle. He plays through the rest of the year. They were the number 1 seed when they were 8-3 at that point. I think they're the 3 seed. I think they're a really, really good football team. And I think they continue to lean on one of the better backs and one of the better offensive lines, which adds Mitch Morse from Buffalo at the center spot, along with Brandon Sheriff. Give me the Jags winning the AFC South. Now, where do they end up going from there? Who's playing in those title games? Who's hoisting the awards? Who on game night or who on awards night is taking on the MVP, coach of the year, all those good stuff. And more importantly, who's playing 3 nights later in the Super Bowl down in New Orleans? We'll answer that on the other side. And then Match Nyman stops by in about 15 minutes from right now. He's John Kuhn. I'm Billy Schmidt. Armin Sarian right there. NFL Prediction Day as we are into game week of the NFL season. Back after this with our champions on the game. 9 to noon's back on the game. Billy Schmid, John Kuhn, Armin Sarian with all of you. 414-799-1973. Matt Schneidman stops by in 10 minutes. Talk Packers and Eagles before he departs, along with John Kuhn for Brazil. Now, not on the same flight.
Different flight.
Listen,
different itinerary.
We're not letting Matt on the team plane. Like, all due respect, can't be doing that. Now, Matt is getting some backstage access that we are going to talk about a little bit coming up in about 10 minutes from right now, which is always fun and always good to be able to discuss, but more importantly, discussing and picking the teams that win the AFC, win the NFC. We got stunted by some TikTok trend that is really, really blowing up on the NicoletLaw.com talking text line that we'll discuss a little bit more coming up here at some particular point in time.
It's a real
John,
thing. Okay.
We got to get to the NFC here. I don't know that we have a full amount of time, though. Do we want to just rip through who's winning the AFC? We'll come back with the NFC after Schneidman. Little live producing on the air.
Yeah, sure.
I think that's the easiest way. So let's rip through who's winning the AFC, winning through here, because we just outlined our division winners and our wild card teams.
All right, so I'll go wild card round. I got Chiefs over Broncos in the first round, and it's going to be
awesome.
It's going to be a slaughter because they are going to face themselves for the third time. Broncos always play them tough to begin with, and this one's going to be an Arrowhead. I'm going to give them the nod, but it's going to be a close one. Chiefs over Broncos, Texans over Jets in the first round there. They'll be hosting. They'll be at home. That's why I got them with that win. And then Dolphins over Bills, because they will have the home game against the Bills, and it's about time. And they lost in Buffalo a couple of years ago. They lost against Kansas City. I don't see them doing that again at home. They get that fast track there at home. They're going to be over the Bills. Well, unfortunately, they're going to run into the Chiefs the next week after getting that win. So Dolphins lose to the Chiefs in the divisional round. Ravens over Texans. And we got a rematch in the AFC Championship this year. Ravens over Chiefs. This year, it's different. This year, the Ravens run the ball with Derrick Henry in the second half. They get over that hump because they get the first round bye again, and they beat the Chiefs this year to make it out of the AFC.
Wow. Okay. So Chiefs and Ravens, the AFC title game. It's a divisional round game for your boy. And I got to go in the same way. I also have the Ravens finally getting over the Chiefs hill. Now I have the Chiefs being the first round bye, number 1 overall seed. Ravens winning a tough wild card game. Lamar Jackson back in the state of Florida going up against the Jacksonville Jaguars is the 4-5 game. Lamar might score 6 touchdowns. In the state of Florida, that might be a really, really tough day on, I assume, a Saturday night Peacock special for a super wild card weekend. Give me the Ravens getting themselves past the first round. Then the Bills beat the Texans at home in a very, very, very cold Highmark Stadium as the 3-6. I got Bengals Jets, the 2-7 matchup. This is something that I am very much waiting for, to see Aaron Rodgers against Joe Burrow in the playoffs. I got the Bengals winning a close game, a low-scoring game, tough one, and then Bengals-Bills, the game that we got a couple of years ago. Remember the make sure you get them refunds game when the Bengals went up and beat the brakes off the Buffalo Bills in the divisional round? Not this year. Bills finally get over the hump. It's Bills and Ravens in the AFC title game. People on the NicoletLaw.com talking text line are saying Billy has picked the Baltimore Ravens to win the Super Bowl each of the last 3 years.
Hey, one of these times.
Is he really about to do it again? You better believe it. Baltimore wins the AFC.
Let's go.
As John Kuhn said, on the back of Derrick Henry, and Lamar Jackson. John finally gets those elusive playoff wins. And my healthy Josh Allen is once again crying in that avocado ice cream as they're unable to get over that playoff hump. That's going to be great theater if this plays out the way you and I have both predicted this in the AFC.
Oh, we both got the Ravens, huh?
Both got the Ravens winning the AFC.
All right.
So they'll be.
It's got to finally happen, right?
So they'll miss the playoffs. Like, I mean, let's be honest.
They're not missing the playoffs, but I feel a little bit nervous now. I was really hoping you'd pick the Chiefs, or you'd pick the Texans, or you'd pick the Jaguars.
Third time's the charm.
And sunshine.
Third time's the charm.
Eventually, it's got to happen for Lamar. I just feel like it's got to.
Third time's the charm. It's got to happen.
Too good night.
Or it's just heartbreak Harbaugh to a new level for the Baltimore Ravens fans. Like, you want to start stacking up the heartbreak different organizations have had since that Super Bowl where the lights went out and they barely eked one out with Ray Lewis in his final game. Whew, they have been close without a cigar. All right, 414-799-1973. React to the AFC side, NFC side coming up in 30 minutes. Matt Schneidman going to reply and respond to us both picking the Baltimore Ravens to win the AFC amongst talking about his conversation with the head coach of the Green Bay Packers and previewing their first game coming up in Sao Paulo, Brazil against the Philadelphia Eagles. Match Nyman of the Match Nyman Show and The Athletic joins 9 to noon right after this. Grab that phone because this week it is here. NFL action is finally back. It's the best time of year. And if you were one of the millions of fans that got in the game last year, making picks on Underdog, sweet. Sign back up. Now, if you weren't, join in on the fun. You could win up to 325 times your money by simply choosing higher or lower on your favorite football player stats this year. It's the NFL Pick'em game by Underdog Fantasy. It's my favorite way to invest on a singular game. All the games on a Sunday slate, you pick just your favorite players higher or lower on yards, receptions, touchdowns, and then you watch your picks hit and you win money. Like, that's how easy it is with Underdog Fantasy. All you got to do is make picks and watch them hit. Sign up with their mobile app or go to underdogfantasy.com. Use promo code Billy, though, Billy. Underdog is going to give you a highly discounted pick to use on your first pick 'em entry, plus a first-time deposit offer of up to $1,000 in bonus cash. Yeah, you heard me right. Underdog Fantasy, promo code Billy. Claim your new customer offer of a gimme first pick and your deposit offer of up to $1,000 in bonus cash. Must be 18 plus and present in a state where Underdog Fantasy operates. Terms apply. Concerned with your play? Call 1-800-GAMBLER or visit www.ncpgambling.org. 9 to noon, hour 2, brought to you by Happy Place Hemp and happyplacehemp.com. Everybody can relax with Happy Place Hemp and get 25% off your entire order every time by using promo code Billy, whether it's the Delta 8, Delta 9 gummies, strictly recreational. Now, if you are using those recreational gummies throughout the weekend, enjoying yourself a beautiful Labor Day weekend and having a whole lot of time. Also, if it was a Drift Seltzer weekend, CBD, THC infused seltzers, fantastic time as well. Or if, you know what, some Labor Day fireworks. People blowing off fireworks up in Door County, John, is that a thing on Labor Day weekend, or is that only 4th of July? Everyone done with the fireworks depots by Labor Day?
I'm not gonna lie. I feel like Wisconsin fireworks start the 4th of July and just roll through like week
Not really
1 of the
firework,
NFL
but
season. Like they just keep going. That's a big old bomb.
That's a big old firework.
It's the closest thing I had
Big
available
old firework.
there.
Oh,
But
man.
yeah, fireworks, man. People love fireworks. They absolutely do.
What's not to like?
Yeah, I know. I
Excitement,
get you.
energy, kind of like how you describe Match Nyman. 25% off when you use promo code Billy at happyplacehemp.com. Energy, excitement, beaming with bright colors, vibrant personality. Match Nyman. He's the firework of 97.3 The Game, 6 to 7, the Match Nyman Show, and The Athletic, where you can subscribe and get all of his written work on the Green Bay Packers as well. Matt, a couple of days away. How prepared are you for tomorrow's 10.5-hour flight? Now, Armin was talking about doing some kind of shenanigans on the flight.
No, it's
I don't
not
even really want to
shenanigans.
repeat it.
It's the opposite of shenanigans. You do nothing. There's a term for it, which you guys, I guess, I don't know. Is a term? Should I not use? It's an official term. Everyone's
You
written
said it
about
97 times, so you might as well say it
It's
again.
called raw dogging. It's a trend now on the internet. It's in the internet, and people doing.
I don't know what
nothing
category
flights.
on the internet Armin's looking at, Matt, when he's finding
All right,
that.
Forbes. Okay, Forbes.com, CNN Travel. It's the new trend.
You got things planned for the flight, or are you going to entertain yourself by just cranking out more content about the Green Bay Packers?
No, it's a red eye, so I'm not going to be cranking out content during the flight. I leave about 5:30 p.m. and land in Brazil around 9:30 a.m. and then I'll make it to practice on time, thankfully.
There we go.
Leave the Packers practice 12:30 Brazil time on Thursday, so 10:30 Central time. No, I plan to maybe crank out a movie or two, but I'm considering taking a melatonin because
Ooh, okay.
it's an overnight flight. I really struggle to sleep on planes. I have an aisle seat, which I chose because I don't want to have to get up over people in the middle of the night who are sleeping.
That's how I feel. Yeah.
Yep.
Get up, stretch my legs, maybe do some high knees in the aisle, a la Russell Wilson.
That's what I'm talking about.
But yeah, I am interested to see how this flight goes. It's not the longest flight I've done. I think I did 10.5 from San Francisco to London when I covered a Raiders Seahawks game at Wembley in 2017, 2018. I took a melatonin for that flight, so I'll probably do the same tomorrow.
Aisle versus window, big.
I'd suggest Happy
tough
Place Hemp
decision.
Sleepy Time Gummy, but that's fine.
Yeah, that'd be good. Tough decision because on one hand, you don't have to walk over people to go to the bathroom on that window, or you do. But on the other hand, you could get woken up on the aisle for someone else to go to the bathroom. So it's a tough decision to make. What you pick the lesser of two evils. What would you rather have?
Yeah.
I don't know. I'm with you on aisle. I'm with you. Yeah.
I normally go short flights window, long flights aisle, just because it allows me to get up, allows me to go to the bathroom. I was on the Chicago to San Francisco flight for the playoff game last year, and I was in 32F something. I was in a window seat, and it was miserable.
Yeah, see, I got loaded up. The only international flight I took, I got loaded up on seat 3 of the 4 middle one.
No.
And there was a young lady who was one of our football managers who sat next to me. And we were not friends. So it was a very, very interesting 8-hour excursion. I probably would have chose aisle seat like Match Nyman did right there. But you know what? You guys are the experienced travelers. I should have thought better of that.
I don't know. The seat doesn't bother me. It really doesn't matter if it's window. It doesn't matter if it's aisle. I don't mind looking over from a window seat saying, excuse me, I
need to go to the bathroom.
Sorry, but I need to get up and walk around.
Yeah.
I need to use
Right.
that
It just is what it is.
If
I sit in the middle seat, which way am I going to fall? I don't know. Which way am I going to fall when I fall asleep?
Right.
I'm glad to hear you're going to get wild though. You're going to get crazy and take a melatonin.
I have a question. I have an airplane etiquette question.
Oh, okay.
It is my belief that if you are in the middle seat, you should get both armrests because you're already suffering enough in the middle seat. The person in the window seat gets the window. The person in the aisle seat gets the space in the aisle and one armrest. The person in the middle should get primary position on both armrests.
Yeah, I'm down with that.
I
Now, as
never
the
thought
uncomfortable
about it,
fat
yeah.
guy that will take the middle seat and feel pretty good about doing it, I actually prefer to lean all the way back and then cross my arms, because then if you cross your arms, then it gives the allure that you're trying to,
What are you, in
brace
a,
up.
Are you in a
Then you know
coffin?
that you're-
What is this?
Yeah, and then you know that you're actually going to start leaning back and really, really disrupting them, because you're just going to sit here and then maybe actually doze off.
I guess I haven't thought about that. I don't have a problem with your etiquette theory, although I don't think you should feel entitled to anything, unfortunately, in the middle seat. I think you have to hope that others yield to you, giving the armrest situation.
How about we talk about the Packers?
Yeah, let's do
Oh,
that.
you
Let's
brought
do
it
that.
up.
Let's do that. Matt, as the Packers do head down here, you guys got to hear from Braden Narvison. Quotes galore from Narv Dog in that 10 minutes to be able to listen to it. I love the pressure is a privilege. Now, you heard that a number of different times, but he seems like somebody who is going to take advantage of this opportunity. I don't know that he can kick all that well in the NFL games, but a nice little shot of, did go 5 for 5 and walked into Lambeau Field. So he's got some confidence, and I like that he's letting people know about it.
Yeah. The first impression was solid. Not only the press conference, but the 5 for 5 in practice, going back to 58 yards in a windy Lambeau Field. But I haven't been doing this for long, not as long as some other people on the beat, but I've been doing it for long enough to not be fooled by first impressions like that. We have no idea if this kid can kick in games. He's never kicked in an NFL regular season game before. So we'll wait and see. But I just have the feeling that whether it's Friday or sometime early in the season, there's going to be a clutch moment that he steps up in, and can he make the kick? I'm wondering how short his leash is going to be, because Brian Gutekunst talked a couple weeks ago, obviously, about not being as patient with specialists as he probably should be. They can't just keep cycling through kickers, because any kicker you'd bring in doesn't have a job for a reason. So I don't think his leash is going to be like, oh, you have 2 bad games, you're done. But certainly a good first impression, but obviously let's temper some expectations and see what happens once the lights turn on.
Speaking to the leash, let's talk about first impressions actually matter. Think about the first impressions of Anders Carlson last year, right? They were not rosy. They were not bright and shiny. That's why I think, when he talks about patience, it comes back to, what does it look like? And if he not only now tell me this, what did the kicks look like at the practice? Did they look good? I mean, they went in, but we know not all makes are created equal. Some makes just barely squeak in. Some misses bounce off an upright. I mean, the eye test tells you as much as the analytics do in this case.
Well, let's clarify. Anders Carlson did not miss a field goal until week 7 last year. So
I'm talking about first impression. You said first impressions. This kid didn't kick in a regular season game yet, and that's his first impression, 5 for 5 in a practice. Remember Anders Carlson at practices last year?
Yeah, that was
before
tough.
the start of the season. Oh, buddy.
People were very nervous about it. Yeah.
Right.
Pins and needles going into the season.
I'm saying regular season first impression, and it kind of just goes to show that what you do in camp doesn't necessarily translate to the regular season. So while Anders wasn't thrilling in the preseason last year, he started off strong. Narvison could struggle to start. Then he could rebound and kick really well. We just don't know. I have no idea what the kicks looked like in practice, but it was a solid first impression. Jaden Reed was walking behind the scrum around Braden Narvison the other day and just screaming, he like that.
I love that.
Kind of like you like that, but kind of giving confidence for Braden Narvison. Matt LaFleur told me in the Matt LaFleur podcast, our 25-minute interview debuts on my show tonight at 6. He told me that early returns were great, and Jair came up to him at practice on Thursday, Narvison's first practice, and was like, I love this guy. So good vibes around the kicker spot right now, which is a welcome change for Packer fans, but let's see what happens on Friday.
Also, family from Wisconsin, John. That's a great win. Like, throw that in there and instantly get a little bit of goodwill. I liked the young
in-laws,
man in
right?
that one. Yeah.
In-laws.
Wife's
In-laws
family from Wisconsin. Yep.
Yeah. And here's the deal, Matt. You talk about the locker room. It's almost as important that the locker room believes in you as anything else. When you're a kicker, having that belief that you're going to go out there and you're going to perform and you're going to do your job and having guys support you, that's a big time thing. And you don't just get that. You got to earn that. And granted, only one day, but he's earned it, it feels like. And the players are excited because now they don't have to, sit on the edge of their seats or hem and haw every time it's a 4th and 2 at the, 38-yard line. Should we kick a 53-yarder or should we go for it?
Yeah, Matt LaFleur is very much TBD on how his offensive play calling will change because of his confidence in his kicker. But he said the other day he absolutely has confidence in Braden Arvison based on what he's seen in a small sample size so far. So we'll see if it affects his play calling on Friday. When he first got Narveson in the building, he was like, yeah. Or no, before he met Narveson, he was like, 100% it could affect my play calling. But it seems like he's dialed back on that a little bit because he's seen him kick, but we'll see.
Okay, so I'm not the only one getting swept up in the initial response. I love that because my man rocking the backwards hat talking, I was a big fan. Matt, these two teams that are playing on Friday night, two spent big money on running backs in free agency, not a position that a whole lot of teams spend on. Both are expecting their guy to be a much different type of player than they had maybe a year ago. Like Philadelphia needs someone different. Packers might want somebody who's able to be on the field all 17 games. Josh Jacobs wasn't all that healthy last year, but who do you think's more different with their free agent running back this year? What team changes their offense more because of the new focal point there?
Probably the Eagles, just because it seems like Saquon Barkley is a bigger upgrade from what they had. They had DeAndre Swift last year.
Yeah.
Kenneth Gainwell in the back.
Yeah, probably a bigger upgrade
Austin
than Josh
Scott.
Jacobs over Aaron Jones. I'm not sure how much of an upgrade Jacobs is. The Packers obviously think he is one. I will say Josh Jacobs has only played a full season once in his career. Like, yes, he's ranked second since he entered the league in rushing yards and rushing touchdowns behind Derrick Henry in both categories. But this notion that he's had a clean bill of health his whole career, and Aaron Jones has been ravaged with injury. Sure, last season Aaron Jones missed 11 games, but Josh Jacobs also only played 13 games last season. So I think the fact that he's younger helps the Packers, obviously, in the long term. There shouldn't be any drop-off in how they use Josh Jacobs in the passing game. There's an interesting bit from Matt LaFleur on running back usage on my show tonight that kind of teases how they might split carries, if you will, in the backfield. That might be different than years past. So we'll see how exactly they use Josh Jacobs. But yeah, I think both teams probably upgraded in their minds, but definitely from an outsider's perspective, a bigger upgrade for the Eagles.
All right, Jeff Hafley, the new defense. Ooh, baby. We haven't really seen it. Don't really know. What do you expect?
Yeah, I try not to get swept up in all the buzzwords like play fast and aggressive and pin your ears back and TFLs and sacks and all that stuff.
Let it rip.
Let it rip. Exactly. But it could manifest itself. Listen, what matters is, can they set an edge against Saquon Barkley? Can they prevent Jalen Hurts from running roughshod like he did last time these two teams played in 2022 for like 170 yards or something? And can they avoid, getting called for defensive pass interference down the field against a bigger, stronger receiver in A.J. Brown and a really quick guy in Devontae Smith? And I think Jahan Dotson's going to play, and a really good slot guy in Dotson. So I don't know exactly what to expect. We didn't see anything in terms of schematically from the Packers defense in the preseason, and that's obviously by design. But I am intrigued to see more than anything this defensive line. We've heard so much about it in the preseason. I know it's cliche, but the hand in the dirt, I think, does help. Just have guys focused on one gap instead of kind of a read and react two gap thing. But then again, that aggressiveness can lead to much bigger plays for the opposing team. That was said it before on this show. That was the hallmark of the Joe Barry defense, is keep everything in front. We'll give up 5 or 6 yards as long as we don't give up 30. But with these TFLs and sacks that the Packers might get, that also increases the likelihood that the other team gets those 20, 30, 40-yard gains. So
Do you think that's
to see how they approach things?
Do you think that's part of the reason why Joe Barry's defense seemed to be better at the end of the season last year? Why a lot of people were curious about his job potentially being saved was because the offense picked up the slack to a notion that it made what the defense's philosophy was actually work, right? If you have a bend but don't break, don't give up the big play, just give your offense a chance to win it at the end mentality, and your offense does win it at the end, makes your defensive coordinator look pretty smart. If you have an aggressive defense, you could leave teams in ball games, in shootouts. It could create shootouts. I mean, I kind of feel like just a different mindset, just a different vibe is enough with the personnel that they added to really be excited about this Packers defense.
Sure. I also think they played the Carolina Panthers, the Chicago Bears with Justin Fields, and the Minnesota Vikings with Nick Mullins and Jaron Hall the last 3 games of the season. So that was probably a big part of the reason why Joe Barry's defense looked better.
Well, the Cowboys, they first forced a couple turnovers, had a really good first half in that one.
Right.
49ers, they weren't the reason they lost to the 49ers.
No, I'm talking regular season. Joe Barry's been, in his 3 years, he's had 3 solid playoff performances. So we'll see how Jeff Hafley does. I'm sure the reactions on social media in the United States, because I won't be able to use Twitter in Brazil, will be measured. I'm sure there will be no overreaction.
I heard about this. Aren't you going to text the tweets to your brother?
No, I was going to text my brother, videos or important updates, not, everything, but
grade run, third down type of thing.
My boss at The Athletic said, do not do that.
Not worth it.
She said,
I'm having Armin do it for me.
It.
Armin's doing it for me.
Are y'all crazy?
Okay. All right.
You want this man to get locked up abroad by sending out a couple of tweets so that we can see Jair Alexander during warmups?
Armin's going to do it for me.
Matt, be safe.
Don't
do it. Don't do it.
So here's my thing.
Billy just said, I don't want you getting locked up. I don't know what.
I'm not trying to get
I'm not getting locked up because you tweet in the United States for me.
That was my thought, and that's why I was going to do it. But listen, I'm obeying my boss's orders. She said it's better to be safe than sorry because listen.
Correct.
Jeez.
There's nothing. Well, maybe there is something criminal about it because the fine is $8,900 if you use a VPN to access Twitter in Brazil.
I'm not paying that.
I don't think they can do anything if they see live stuff being tweeted from the game, videos, for example, if it's coming from an IP address in the United States. But who knows?
But you don't want that smoke. I get it. Yeah.
As someone who has an anxiety disorder like myself, I just always think worst possible scenario. So I just think we're broadcasting information live from the game, even if it's not from Brazil. So someone's going to come up to the press box and escort me out. I just don't want to take a chance. I will have everything on the Athletics live blog, whatever tweets and insights I would have. I will have the sights and sounds from Thursday and Friday on my Instagram story. I think we'll survive.
Good call. Matt.
Wow. Okay.
I'm looking out for you. I don't want you getting into any situation where we got to be going back and forth trying to embargo Matt Schneidman back out of Brazil. All right. Let's just not take anybody off. Because from what the internet is saying, and I know you can't lie on there, Saturday in Brazil is not going to be a day that you want to be in Sao Paulo, at least just from what I'm reading online in their political situation. So let's get you out of the country, get you back home safe and sound as quickly as possible. Don't mess around with any of that stuff. Matt, I got a bigger question for you.
Yeah.
So how was the vibe with Matt LaFleur on Friday? Was he excited? Was he agitated? Was he ready to get going? What was the feeling as he sat down in that very, very comfortable chair that you had him set up in?
No, he was great. He's a lot different in a one-on-one setting than he is at the podium when we talk to him every single day. We touched on some different type of stuff than we do at the podium normally. A lot of Jeff Hafley stuff, what the interview process, a neat story about why he didn't think he was going to get Jeff Hafley, but ultimately did. There's, I think, only one bit since we recorded on Friday. It airs tonight. There's one bit that has lost its timeliness with kind of the first impression of Braden Narveson, but everything else kind of rings true. We do something called the vomit scale because he obviously had the comment a couple weeks ago. Wide receiver one talk makes him want to vomit. So I listed 5 narratives or things and asked him on a scale of 1 to 10 how much they make him want to vomit. Some in there too.
That sounds funny. Okay, I'm excited for this. I'm excited to hear
That's
this.
almost like this text message that we got from Bennett from Brookfield on the NicolaLaw.com talking text line. Maybe on the vomit scale. I know the answer already, but does Matt Schneidman give up his seat when a single mother asks for his row with her 2 kids to sit in the seat so that they can all be together?
It depends on what seat I would be switching to.
Like a seat in a different row. So she got 2 kids. They got the 2 seats. She's like, I would really, if we could switch here and all the kids could be together, you'll be in.
He's saying is it an equal seat? Is it an equal seat? Like, does he have to move from aisle to middle?
Listen, if it's a 45-minute flight to Detroit and she's asking me to sit in a middle seat and it's the first time her kids are flying, sure, I'll switch. If it's a 10.5-hour flight to Brazil and she's asking me to switch to a middle seat or a window seat, sorry, lady, I'm paying extra. Well, my company's paying extra money for me to sit in an aisle. I ain't switching.
Yeah, but remember, then you'd be sitting next to the kids without their mom, in theory.
For
right?
10.5 hours.
And that's why you have a melatonin.
I guess that's true.
Armin,
that was the answer Bennett from Brookfield was expecting. That was the answer he was
expecting. If it's a middle seat, I'm not switching. I'm not switching to a middle seat on a 10.5-hour flight.
Okay. I'm not fighting with you about it.
Don't change, Matt.
Just bringing up the issue that
you would switch from an aisle seat to a middle on a 10.5-hour flight if you wanted to sit with your kids. So
you're talking to 3 people with kids
next to each other.
If her kids were 7 and 9 and sitting on the left side and the right side of me, yes, I would.
You're talking to 3 people with kids, though.
John,
so
I'm in the aisle, though. They're not on the left side and the right side. They're both.
No, they could be. One could be on the aisle to the right of you, and one could be in the middle seat to the left of you. And yes, I would switch if her kids were sitting on both sides.
I'll be honest with you, I don't want to go viral. I don't want to be thinking this guy wouldn't switch with my kids, and they got video.
All the phones.
I'm not.
That mother is not real.
I'm not in the middle seat on this flight. They're not on either side of me. I have an aisle seat on this flight I'm on.
That's awesome.
This is a hypothetical thing we're talking about,
but
awesome. yeah, I get your
point.
If
I was switching from a middle seat to a middle seat, yes, I would switch. If I was switching from an aisle to a middle, no, I would not switch.
It's fair.
What if her oldest daughter was sitting on the right side of you across the aisle, and the youngest daughter was sitting to the left of you in the middle seat?
What?
I'm not following that one either.
Matt from Wausau. This guy's a D-bag.
So
I'm surprised he doesn't take a private plane because he doesn't want to be bothered by Packers fans. Matt in Wausau.
Come on.
Matt Schneidman is always talking to Packers fans.
Wait, you're
That's
saying
the Packers fan. It's an annoying
aisle,
young
but
guy.
there's someone on the other side. Like what?
Matt, enjoy the flight. You got a long time to think about that brain buster.
I think
you got a long flight, and most likely not, because you're not going to take a melatonin. You're going to do a sleepy time gummy from Happy Place Hemp. Much better, and it'll be a lot easier for you there. Safe flight, safe travels. Don't tweet. We'll talk to you when you get back.
All right, thanks, guys.
That's Matt Schneidman of the Matt Schneidman Show tonight. Going to hear his conversation with Matt LaFleur, Packers head coach, and we're going to potentially hear a little bit more of that. That's awesome. I mean, like, there's no way that wasn't the answer I was expecting from him.
I don't know how he got mad at me. I just was bringing up the situation. I wasn't fighting him on it.
I think he got mad because he realized what he was saying. But who knows? Maybe it's just mad because it was a ridiculous question, John. You know what? Even the better question is, who's going to win the NFC North? Who's going to win the NFC South? Who's going to win the whole NFC and the Super Bowl? We're going to answer it as our NFL predictions roll on. It's 9 at noon on the Game.
Post-Labor Day means we're looking at baseball playoffs, and the baseball season in Milwaukee has been a welcome surprise. We're talking new manager, some important pieces went elsewhere, and yet they've had this outstanding season. And Pella Windows and Doors of Wisconsin always finishes first in the window and door leagues. Pella manufactures all their own products. Each one of those products gets tested thousands of times to ensure it stands the test of time. Their quality craftsmanship and innovative design are built into every Pella product for timeless beauty and performance. Pella windows and doors are the best in their class, not only from the endless styles, but for the features you can't see. And now for something you almost can't believe. Get as low as $18 per window and $81 per patio door per month, but you have to hurry. This deal only lasts until September 30th. Certain restrictions apply. See Sherman for details. And please, when you go in, let Gina Della know that John Kuhn sent you. Visit pillowwi.com today.
9 to noon on the game. Just awesome. Awesome conversation every single time when Matt Schneidman stops by. As Red Hot Tim Knott is asking, I think, a very legitimate question. John Armin, I'm Billy Schmid. It's 9 to noon. What is Matt talking about taking a melatonin for? Can't he just power down like a normal robot for 10 hours?
No, he says he doesn't sleep well on planes.
Charge him. You got to charge him up. You got to plug him in.
Oh, yeah.
But the important part is you got to take that plug out. You don't ever leave those
that's
things.
fair.
You'll
Yeah.
just drain the battery. You got to fluctuate that thing between 80 and 20%. That's how you extend your battery life.
It's a good point, John. You can never.
Well, and maybe, John, then it's harder for him to repower up once he's got to go to the bathroom, right? Because that's why he's taking the aisle seat and not giving it up.
Now, there, I agreed with them. I supported him on that.
was
So
awesome.
I didn't know
That was
why it was
awesome.
such a problem at the end when I
And he
just
started
asked,
coming at you, which was fantastic.
I just asked the question, wouldn't you be sitting with the kids
That
then?
was
I mean,
great.
I just
Yeah,
That's
no,
great.
he would be sitting with the kids. And he said, not if I'm in an aisle. Armin, you didn't understand this either. A kid sits on the opposite side of the aisle.
Yeah, they were not listening.
And then
to
a
that
kid
part.
sits to the left of you.
Oh,
in,
I
in
see.
a middle seat.
Yeah, you're
I
still in the middle.
That's you're sitting in between the kids.
Yeah, no, you make
Not
a
on my
great
idea.
aisle
point.
seat.
They're going to be talking. They're going to be passing markers back and forth. They're going to be passing, little tidbits, snacks back and forth.
Oh, yeah.
Puffs.
Talking to mom.
You
across the way.
Those cheese puffs, you're exactly right, John. They're gonna be passing them things back and
Yeah.
forth. You know that they're gonna be gnawing on some kind of trail mix. Yeah, that's awesome. I have just thought about it so many times throughout the break of Matt Schneidman getting asked the question, and then everybody else on the plane looking at him like, "Are you really? This guy really?" I took a melatonin. I'm not doing this. All right, 414-799-1973.
He
We
would
are
do it.
doing this part of it.
Yeah, he would do it. He would switch. I don't know why. He
I'm
thought
not
so
so confident. All right, let's get into the
Let's get
NFC.
into it.
We're really confident in these selections, so much so that while John and I were, laboring over these on Labor Day, like most people do. That's a cliche that every football coach was able to use yesterday. Nothing like laboring on Labor Day. Nothing like the day after Labor Day. White is in the closet. NFC selections coming out right now from our two-time Super Bowl champion, John Kuhn.
And I think we got rid of the white after Labor Day notion. I think you can still do that now. You can still rock some
you
white,
can.
and you can make some crazy picks like I may have done
Love that.
here on the NFC side. This one's not crazy. Trent Williams is back, and the 49ers are back as the class of the NFC West. Although I don't think it's as easy as it's been for them. I think it will be tougher in their division this year. I still have the Niners winning that thing. I got the Lions winning the North. That's going to piss a lot of listeners off, but I think the Lions are a team that took the momentum of their last regular season win 2 years ago against the Packers, as this is our de facto playoff game, and finishing the season on a high note with the win. They carried right into last year's NFC Championship game that they had in their grasp before they didn't anymore. A couple of fourth down conversions didn't allow that to happen. And, kicking when you should have went for it and going for it when you should have kicked. I got the Lions winning the North, regardless of that one. Here's where it gets tough. The NFC South. What do you do in the South? Does Baker roll with the momentum that he
Let's
created
bake, baby.
after that Packer game last year, the 400 yards passing, and roll right back into the playoffs and win that division again? Or are the Falcons good enough with the addition of Jesse Bates, the outside linebacker from New England? His name's escaping me right
Matthew
now. Judon, and obviously the quarterback, Kirk Cousins. I think they do. I got the Falcons winning the South. The East is a tough one for me as well, because the Eagles fell so hard at the end of last season, but the Cowboys didn't add a single piece in the offseason. So the Cowboys just said, hey, we're just going to run it back. We're actually going to run it back with the exact same damn crew. So the Cowboys, Eagles, who's going to do it? I got the Eagles winning it this year, and that makes 49ers, Lions, Eagles, Falcons as the division winners. Wild cards. I think Packers are in this wild card. I think they could still even get to 11, 12 wins.
And not
as a wild card team.
Yeah.
As a wild card team, I think that's probably the case. I got them as the 5 seed. Here's another team that I think could easily make some noise this year. And I think it's why the NFC West is going to be so tough. I got the Rams as a wild card in the 5 seed. I think their offense is going to be dynamic and electric, but Aaron Donald missing out of that defensive line is going to hurt them quite a bit. So that's why I have them as a wild card team. If Aaron Donald was still there, I'd have him to win the West. And then the last wild card team, this is where it gets difficult. You got Dallas sitting there. You got Tampa Bay sitting there. You got Out west, you got Seattle sitting there. But I think the team that gets it done is the Chicago Bears. I think they are the 7th seed in the playoffs this year.
Oh boy.
I think when Caleb Williams figures it out, the addition of DeAndre Swift, the addition of Keenan Allen, the addition of Rome Odunze, right there with what they already had on that offense, an offensive line that's been retooled, maybe not completely, restructured and to a dominant point, but retooled enough. Caleb Williams just needs to figure out how to be an NFL quarterback. He's got all the tools for it. He can be electric. I think they're going to make the playoffs this year as the 7th seed.
The logic is not flawed. Like there's a lot of reason to think intellectually that could happen.
Lights
right.
out, Armin.
It's a good defense. They won 7 games last year without the guys they have now. In
5
theory,
at the tail end of the season, I believe.
And in theory, you think, okay, these will all be upgrades, right? Now we know that real games, real outcomes don't always work out that way, but I understand why you think that. Obviously, personally, for personal reasons, we want them to fall flat on their face, but it could be a year where they make the playoffs. So you have 3 teams from the North, John. Pretty interesting, stacked. Yeah, I like that. I mean, I think that's definitely possible. But the Cowboys missing then.
I got the Cowboys
missing.
I got the Buccaneers out. Who else in this thing that would be
Seattle was out, right?
I got Seattle out, Arizona out, which Arizona could easily find themselves into the playoffs this year. I could see that being a possibility as well. So, yeah, I got the Chicago Bears taking that last spot. I think the NFC is harder to pick than the AFC, clearly.
There's a little bit of a middle class there, I think, that makes it tougher.
Well, and John and I agree on a couple of things. NFC North, best division in football. I got the Chicago Bears as the 7th seed as well. As I teased it, John, I knew that it was going to make this man very, very upset. I knew it was going to make Armin Sarian very, very frustrated.
I don't like it, but it could happen.
I'm with you, though. Like, I think their defense is exactly why. They win 5 of their last 8 games last year. There was a run in there where there was 3 of 4. I just think that they're really, really difficult to score against. And if Caleb Williams has to score 24 points a game, 21 points a game, I think they can do that. I like the early portion of their schedule. I think they're going to have to hold on a little bit late. I think they might fade a little bit towards the end because their schedule gets brutal at the back half. But, man, they did him a lot of favors on that early ramp up for the Chicago Bears. I got them as the 7th seed. Really, the only contradiction, though, that John Kuhn and myself have is who wins the best division in football. Give me the Green Bay Packers plus 210, beating the Detroit Lions in a knockout, drag-out division race. I think they each beat each other once during the season. I think it comes down to the final couple of moments of the NFL season. I think it is a nip and tuck, back and forth. Packers and Lions are 2 of the best teams in the NFC. I got the Packers winning the NFC North, and the Lions meeting them one more time. Meeting them one more time in the playoffs. Come on now. San Francisco 49ers, until somebody beats them, they're my number 1 overall seed. I hate to say it. They get the bye. They're the number 1 seed.
Great roster, obviously.
But I also, John, I'm with you on the Eagles. I think the Eagles are better than people give them credit for. I think Kellen Moore and Vic Fangio, both massive upgrades at the coordinator spots, make them much better. So I got Eagles Bears in the 7-2 game. Eagles rolling Caleb Williams and company in that game. Jalen Carter might have 4 sacks. Packers and Rams. Rams, one of the wild card teams as well. The first wild card team. Packers win that game. Come on. Are you kidding me? Matt LaFleur dominates Sean McVay. Even Peter Schrager talks about it on his podcast. And I'm with you on the Atlanta Falcons. I think the Dirty Birds are winning a brutal NFC South. I also have the Cowboys missing the playoffs. I think they could win 10 games or 12 games again. I think they could win 7, and this blows up massively in Jerry Jones' face with Micah Parsons and Dak Prescott going in without contract extensions. Give me Packers and Niners in the NFC title game, and we'll figure out how it goes. Packers beat the Lions in the playoffs. Also beat the Philadelphia Eagles in the playoffs.
That's a big one right there.
Pardon me. Lions lose to the 49ers. Packers beat the Eagles in the divisional round to get to Santa Clara. And we got to go back there.
Okay.
You got to go vanquish the demon if you're going to go win this thing.
Can't run from our nightmares.
No, we're not running from those nightmares.
I cannot believe our picks are nearly identical.
Nearly the same.
Wild card, I got Packers over Falcons. They're going to have to do it on the road, but I think this is obviously a team good enough to do it. They did it down in Dallas last year. They can do it in Atlanta. I got Eagles over Rams because the Eagles will be the home team. And I think the Eagles will be humming at the end of the year. And then I got Bears upsetting the Lions and knocking them out and kind of teeter-totter in this thing. I got the Bears upsetting the Lions in the wild card round, which means Bears 49ers. That'll be an easy 49ers victory. It'll be one game too far for the Chicago Bears this year. And then I got Packers over Eagles. And then I got because I got the Packers over Eagles because I think the Packers might. This one's going to be tough for them down in Brazil, and I think they'll have a revenge factor on that one.
That might be.
And then I got Packers over 49ers. And let me just set something up. Let me just set something up here. I got to say this because the Packers lost in San Francisco last year. I have them exacting that revenge, but I also got the Packers going to the Super Bowl out of the wild card round. I also got the Packers going to Atlanta and to Philadelphia on the way to that Super Bowl. It's a little eerie. It's a little similar to something.
Wow, right? Philadelphia, Atlanta. Where have I heard that before?
To go face off against an AFC North opponent in the Super Bowl. Interesting how those stars align. Interesting how those work out. I got a rematch of the Harbaugh Bowl, and I hate to say it. All right, 414-799-1973. I know. I'm the jerk. I'm the Schneidman of this segment. Back after this, it's 9 to noon on the Game.
I saw something the other day that showed like my first press conference to the start of this year, and it's night and day. It's actually very cringeworthy when I go back and I see anything of myself. I'm like, man, that's life, right? Is you go through situations, you got to get uncomfortable to really maximize your growth. And I would say that I've been through a lot of situations, both good and bad in my time here. And I also have a lot of confidence in the people around me.
That is Matt LaFleur's part of the Matt LaFleur podcast, which you are going to hear coming up tonight when Matt Schneidman on the Matt Schneidman Show airs the debut of the Matt LaFleur podcast, sponsored by Potawatomi Milwaukee. There's a lot of interesting parts when you start thinking back to the beginning of Matt LaFleur's tenure. He mentions that first press conference. John, I don't know where you were taking in that first press conference. You may have been there. I just remember listening to it and airing it on a former radio show that I did in the afternoons with a couple of guys who played for the Green Bay Packers at the time. And we were laughing at the fact that Mark Murphy answered about 94% of the questions. Matt LaFleur did seem nervous would be a fair way of saying it. Very quick, very short. There was a little tremor. Very different now in year 6 already as the head coach of the Green Bay Packers. Definitely while I was listening to that, writing down my notes, I distinctly remember saying, how nervous are we? Because it sounded very trepidatious when he was talking to the microphone. Much different cat now when he's got a microphone in his hand.
Okay, so when he said the first one of that season, I thought he meant the first one of this season. He means that first one overall. And yeah, we've heard a lot of guys have some interesting first pressers.
Oh, yeah.
Dan Campbell. Everybody wanted to rip him for biting kneecaps.
Yeah.
Everybody wanted to bite him for biting or bite him. People probably did want to bite him, but everybody wanted to get him.
You try biting
kneecaps.
Dan Campbell and see if you
How
get
about
out of there.
Sirianni was getting lit up.
Sirianni was far more awkward than Matt. Matt was nervous. Okay. Matt was a little bit nervous. It happened.
That's what it sounded like. Yeah, there's just a little piece there. You can
remember
tell.
Adrian Griffin sounded very nervous. When
okay, well that could have,
job.
yeah, and that now could have been good foretelling.
Adrian Griffin, I don't know what I'm doing. What did he say? Something like that. He's like,
I'm gonna learn.
I'm gonna learn. And I give Adrian Griffin credit. He also did an interview with everybody in the world that day.
That he did.
He did like a one-on-one, and our man Hunter got the one-on-one.
He got a one-on-one. So, everybody got the one-on-one.
It's normal to feel that type of, angst, or not angst is the wrong word, nervousness on any first big press. It's normal. I wouldn't begrudge anyone for that or anything like that. But yes, it is interesting to look back. His voice got lower too. It felt like
crazy how that happens. No, I will honestly say, I was very much not complimentary after that press conference. I remember being quite okay, first off, 29th ranked offense that we hire my man from. And now this is what we get in the first time that we're talking into a microphone. Like, we're protecting my man. And that's why Mark Murphy seemingly was answering every single question. I just remember I remember being very, very aggressively against that press conference. And it's crazy, John, how different he is. We talked about it with Brian Gutekunst as well. We were getting this close to saying, okay, Rashawn Gary, Jair Alexander, Elton Jenkins, and then who else are we drafting here? You allow these guys to grow and get better in their role. The patience in Green Bay, definitely into the microphone. But to prove some of us wrong and talking heads into the microphone, the allowing them to let it breathe a little bit, I definitely have some egg on my face on that one. But I still remember listening to that being like, yeah, you are nervous. I'm glad at least he admits the fact that it sounded that way.
There's a little egg on the face of any of the critics, the recent critics, because of what happened at the end of last season. But make no mistake, there is an opportunity for validation of any criticism based off of how this season goes. This is a very much anticipated season.
This is a big one, yeah.
Packer football season. Right now, a lot of thoughts, not just locally, but nationally, that this team can and will make some noise. Matt LaFleur, could he, once his team got too old, once Aaron Rodgers and Aaron Rodgers' posse got too old here, and he couldn't carry you with 300 yards a game, what happened? The Packers missed the playoffs. Oh no. Now the Packers trade Aaron Rodgers. Oh no. How are we going to look with Jordan Love? Well, we looked pretty good. We feel pretty good. We got that season under our belt. I seem to think that's going to be the way the momentum and the trend continues to go for this Packers team, with Goody knocking it out of the park in another draft and Matt LaFleur getting more comfortable calling plays and designing an offense for a different quarterback here, a different quarterback that can be really good. I think it's going to continue in that direction. But if it doesn't, if there is struggle bus, if this team goes the same record as it did just last year at 9-8, people are going to say, okay, what did we do wrong now?
Oh, yeah.
What do we do wrong? Is 9-8, is that our barometer? Because that's not what we're used to here. We're used to 12. We're used to 13. We're used to challenging for that division. And the Packers, I mean, the reason I got the Lions over the Packers this year is, if let's say the Lions and Packers split, Packers win 3 more games. That's how much better. The Lions were 3 games better last year. That's a big number. That's a big number. So, it's going to take a big number for the Packers to win that division this year if they want to do it.
Yeah, and I'm excited to see the Lions do it for a second consecutive year, right? I'm excited to see a team and an organization try to come back from last year's heartbreak. And if it is just a redemption tour that everybody is getting stomped on, or if it's like a lot of teams, and look at the Philadelphia Eagles, that heartbreak in Super Bowl 57 lingered and ultimately ended in a very unceremonious exit, and ended in their head coach and quarterback apparently hating each other, who are still back. Very excited to see how that works out coming up in a couple of nights when the Packers and Eagles start up the 2024 season.
Who wants to eat at Carnivore?
Oh,
All right.
yes, I
It's
do.
that time of year.
I do.
It's that time of year.
I do. If you want to, 414-799-1973, caller number, let's say 4, caller number 4, because Brett Favre just posted something on Twitter.
Again?
Again. I want to know who's running Brett's Twitter
Because
account.
they're working overtime right now. Okay.
Brett hadn't tweeted this much in 4 years than he has in the last 4 days. I want to know who's ended up taking that over. And I want to know who is playing You Better You Bet, presented by Carnivore, Milwaukee's premier steakhouse. Coming up, who's going to beat the guys to eat with the guys? We'll get your picks. Caller number 4 can be the first contestant of the year as You Better You Bet returns right after this.
Head rest.
9 to noon, hour 3 is always our best of the day, and it's a special kickoff edition of You Better, You Better, You Bet. Just a couple of moments away. 9 to noon also reads the NicoletLaw.com talking text line. I'm not going to say more than the other shows because we like our nooners more.
Oh, say less.
But potentially we do. Andy in Thiensville. How good is Brazil for the NFL? The whole vibe seems scary and not like it's going to be a traditional football game. I don't want to be negative, but this seems like a bad environment. I don't want the players. They don't want the players to leave their hotel. Is this normal? Very normal. Now, John, I'm going to jump the route and then I want your take on this too. How good is the game in Brazil for the NFL? Very good. Anytime that you're taking a game and bringing it to a new audience, I do believe it's a very, very good thing for the league as a whole. Will the situation be perfect time one? No operation's great the first time you do it. It's going to be a little herky-jerky. It's going to be a little difficult. But if my math is correct, and this is the first game that they're playing in the Southern Hemisphere in the new international series, very good for the NFL. They wouldn't be doing it if they didn't think it was good for their pocketbook.
I think it's fantastic for the NFL as well. I think it's fantastic for both Eagles and Packers organizations to not just get to see their fans that are abroad, but also make some new fans abroad. Think about this. They are going to a country, a continent dominated by the game of soccer. And, you know, a lot of these fans are going to come out and they're going to attend this thing. Very much so like when Bayern Munich played, who was it that they played?
Was that Newcastle United or was that Manchester City?
It might have been, I don't know who it was. Manchester City.
One of the good ones, yeah.
But when that
Man
game
City
happened at Lambeau Field, think about the number of people that went to that and then became somewhat soccer fans afterwards, if not full soccer fans afterwards. And now watch these Premier League games early Saturday morning so that they can, you know, follow these teams. So I think this is fantastic for everybody involved. Now, why the caution? Well, I mean, we are going to a different country, different continent for the first time ever. For the first time ever, you make special rules. You make special restrictions so that it goes off without a hitch, because the last thing you want, because you want to do more of this, Billy, you want to continue to do more of this. You want to go more places. You want to spread the good football word. You want to increase the audience of the National Football League. In order to do that, you can't have mishaps. You can't have problems.
Yeah.
And they've been doing London for a damn long time. So they feel comfortable in London. They feel like they have themselves a road path to victory. And what I mean by that is getting over there, getting through a work week with guys technically on vacation while working at the same time, and then being able to put a good product on the field. They feel comfortable with that. Until you feel comfortable with someplace new, I'd like to know about Mexico City when they go down there and play. But I do know those teams that go to Mexico City are generally only flying about an hour or 2 hours. So they only have a day there.
It's different.
You're talking about West Coast or Houston, one of those teams that has a very short flight down there to Mexico City. And that's like flying anywhere in the United States. Just bing, in, boom, out, play your game, business as usual. It's not quite the difference in infrastructure that we're talking about here with the 5th biggest city in the world.
Yeah, it's going to be different. Like there is going to be something. Then you get 414 said, born and raised in Wisconsin, but I've spent a lot of time in Brazil, even with some big political protests in 2013, spent some time, and I wouldn't recommend that part, but Brazilians have a lot of heart and a lot of passion. Some of the most amazing people you're ever going to meet. They're true Midwesterners in South America. They'll bring you in, feed you drinks, make sure you feel safe. Saying that though, Brazil is safe for the most part. Not exactly like the States, but you do have to have a different awareness. They just want everybody to be aware. And when our guy Josh Jacobs potentially in a non-founded in fact statement said, I don't know, maybe the gangs or something, why we can't wear green. Immediately people are going to jump on that and say it. My man was also laughing when he said it to Chris Long. He wasn't stating it as a fact. Just, it's a great deal for the NFL. They don't want anything to go wrong in night one. Now, next year, if they do it again, who knows? Maybe there is 3 to 4 days when the teams are out there and they're gallivanting around the state. But let's make sure it goes well first time, then we can experiment.
Yeah, I think that's what it is. I mean, I think that there are places everywhere that have situations that could be unsafe and could be safe. I think generally it's going to be fine. I think it's going to be a great experience. But of course, yeah, I think something could happen anywhere. I think they want to make sure everyone's safe. That's what it is.
We play a game in Chicago every year.
Yeah, I mean, come on.
In Chicago every year.
And you know what?
There are some spots in Chicago you can get caught up in as well.
Absolutely. And I think there's also a little bit of a fear of an unknown from some people that, haven't experienced anything else that's right beyond their front door. And that's okay. But I think with proper precautions, I think it'll be fine. That doesn't guarantee nothing bad will ever happen. That's just the way of the world, right? That's just the way it is. But listen, and a lot of that is liability. Certain people are like, we got to make sure we stay safe. They're in charge of certain guys. That safety is their responsibility. Of course, they're going to, recommend extreme caution because they want to make sure there's no problems because that's their job. So I totally get it.
I'm excited, dude. I think it's going to be awesome. I'm really, really excited that you guys are going to be one of the only broadcasts that's going to be down there bringing the sights and sounds from the stadium. Like that's going to be a beautiful experience at Corinthians Arena. I get that right? Corinthians Stadium or Corinthians Arena?
I don't know. I think that sounds good. I mean,
I saw both. I saw both on the itinerary. CT Stadium at Corinthians Arena. So I don't
now I got Arena Corinthians. So your boy might be all sorts of messed up.
Arena Corinthians. That's okay. I'm seeing that.
Should have known. South of the equator, they're putting the other word the first time.
Also,
should have known. It's all backwards. It's like, spring and summer and winter. They're all flipped around down there. What's not flipped around is how we invest coming up in football season. We just double up with You Better You Bet. Forgot about that.
Yeah, me too.
You better.
You bet. Me too. It's okay.
You better.
You bet. Yeah, remember I did the remix?
I thought you had the wrong music.
No, that's correct.
No, he hit it, and you could tell he knew he kind of messed up because he hit it. It's not a mess up, but you forgot what it was. If you remembered that you did that late last season for the playoffs, you probably wouldn't have kept it today. But he forgot that he did it.
Sure.
Because the minute he pushed the button, Billy, I watched this. Okay, don't let him know.
Don't let him know.
Just make it look like it's normal. Everything's fine. Everything's good
awesome.
here. I'm on its own. Come on, play the You Better You Bet.
Please hit. Please turn.
Well, we had this is
drop.
what we were using. You better.
Yeah.
I knew it was there.
I'm glad you did
because I had my stuff labeled correctly, so I knew it was gonna hit. So.
I just didn't know if on paternity leave, Bruisewitz just messed around and changed up all your cards and changed the whole game up for you.
You don't know. Maybe he did. Maybe Nick started awesome. Putting different colors on spots and buttons everywhere.
All
else.
that stuff. Yeah, no doubt about it.
I think we're good though. I think we're good.
We're good. We have our contestant.
Our guy.
It is Jim.
It's our buddy Jim in Muskego.
Let's
Way
go,
to go,
Jim in Muskego. First up.
How's it going, fellas?
No, it's going great. You're the first contestant for You Better You Bet for the 2024 championship season. It's got to be great for you. Let's fire it up with pick number 1. Who do we got?
All right, we're going Packers.
Oh, come on.
You got to pick the Packers to start off the year right. Packers right now, I believe, are
plus 2.5.
2.5 was plus 3, so you didn't get it there, but it's okay. Plus 2.5.
Eagles, number 1 bet team at the BetMGM Sportsbook. Very interesting to see what it is at the Potawatomi Sportsbook, why that number is moving and flipping between 3 and 2.5. All right, he's got the Packers in. Where are we going with pick number 2, Jim?
We're going San Fran. We're going San Francisco 49ers.
Taking the San Francisco 49ers. John, as the 49ers now get all their Avengers back and they start up on Monday night, I don't know how much Aaron Rodgers has to like this as they're catching 4 in San Francisco, but Monday Night Football, start up the season, Aaron Rodgers not on turf. Maybe we see more than 4 plays.
How about the NFL was like, well, we got to call a mulligan last year. We had Aaron Rodgers running out with the American flag.
Awesome picture.
Turned out to not work for us. So we're going to call a mulligan this year. It's not 9/11. It's the 8th of September. So we'll have this thing going. Like, okay, we'll just do this again. We'll run this thing back.
Throw them in San Francisco and nobody's going to know anything. It's perfect. It'll work out.
So they are minus for people. The Niners are -4 at home. -4.
Correct.
That's what we're
-4 at home.
You can move the line, but some people
That's
do.
not how we do it.
That's not how we do it here.
That's what I was
Billy
trying to
says
say.
The number.
We don't do it. So yes, Niners -4 and yes, Packers plus 2.5. All right, your third pick, Jim.
Jim,
You got us, Jim?
We lost you there for a second. Who's your third pick?
You got me?
Yeah, we got you
you.
now.
All right. Sorry about that.
Oh, you're all good. Who's your third pick? Jim.
We got the Rams.
Rams. He's got the
Rams.
Rams. All right,
Now,
let's
Jim
go.
is going to Detroit, Michigan, catching 3.5. John, this was a coin flip game in that wild card game a year ago. Very excited to see how this one plays out.
Yeah, I like this week one setup that the NFL did here. This is a great matchup that you have Rams Lions. We obviously know they played in the playoffs last year, and that went down to the wire. 49ers Jets on Monday night, kickoff game, Chiefs Ravens, Philadelphia Green Bay on Friday. I mean, the slate of games for week one is awesome.
Yeah, NFL schedule makers were in their bag. Kind of like those two older people that do it for the MLB.
Oh,
they
yeah.
scheduled that one up at their kitchen table.
Those are awesome. Those two are awesome.
Jim, your fourth pick on the first contestant, the first entry for You Better You Bet in 2024. Who you got?
We're going to Chargers.
All right. He likes both LA teams. He likes Jim Harbaugh to win his first game back in the NFL. Chargers minus three
Yep.
against the LA, formerly LA, now LV, Las Vegas Raiders.
Yeah, don't sell them short. They moved. Yeah, you know what I'm saying?
Couple of times.
They're in Las Vegas now. Yes, -3. All right, I kind of like that pick. I got to be honest. They're at home. I mean, why not? I'm not really excited about the Raiders. So
Now, John, the tough thing is that's
My
a.
analysis.
I don't know that that's really a Chargers home game because there are more Raiders fans in Los Angeles than
there
Chargers
will be
fans.
more, there will be more Raider fans there.
Oh
That's a
yeah,
good
That
point.
way
will be
more.
a Raiders home game.
That's a good point.
And
actually.
SoFi is going to be like the black hole. That's going to be an awesome atmosphere.
It's just the question is, do you trust Harbaugh coming in and Justin Herbert being there with a bunch of new pieces? Do you like the newness of the Chargers with a home game that's not really a home game? Or do you like Gardner Minshew?
That's
football?
that's the question, I think.
And
more
do you
than
like
anything.
Lad McConkey, potential offensive rookie of the year candidate there, being the number one receiver for Justin Herbert? Very interesting.
Yeah.
All right, final pick here. Let's go to Jim, your last one, and then we got to know who your lock is.
We're going to take Houston, the Texans.
Taking the Houston Texans as they are the pick of the year. They're everybody's favorite darling throughout the season. They are -2.5 on the road in Indianapolis. Now, this was the game last year, John, that ultimately ended up deciding the AFC South because the Jags would then down their leg the next week and allow the Texans to win, not only just get a wild card spot. But the Colts were almost in the playoffs with the aforementioned Gardner Minshew last year. They get Anthony Richardson back, and he's now backed up by last year's comeback player of the year in Joe Flacco. Very interesting game in the AFC South week one.
That whole AFC South is crazy. But I see what Jim did here. He took a couple favorites, he took a couple dogs, and then he got a road favorite, which is always the scary ones in the NFL, taking a road favorite. But he's got that with the Texans in a divisional game. That's going to be a tough one. That's the only question mark I really see here on Jim's picks. But Jim, did we get a lock from you?
We got to go to the Packers, man. You have to.
I love it.
He said, come on, what are we talking about? Jim, great start. Great work here as the inaugural 2024 contestant on You Better You Bet. We'll address it and come up next week as to see how you did, all right?
I appreciate it.
Thanks, buddy. There is Jim in Muskego. He is our number one entry.
I love it.
First one.
First guy in.
And almost remember to turn the radio down when you're talking to us.
Okay,
when you are the contestant on You Better You Bet, radio off.
We're working
Easiest
on
way.
those things. We're working on those things. We're getting through it. We're just
we're
getting
almost
started.
in mid-season form.
Yeah.
I mean, we're going to get a lot better. It's going to get a lot less clumsy, and it's also going to not confuse the hosts and the producer when the music fires next time, because
Right.
we are going to be locked in, ready to go. You Better You Bet. What is this, season 5 for you guys?
I want to say 5. Yeah, maybe
Easily 5.
maybe 5. Yeah.
It's awesome.
Well, we did some during the spring too. I mean, we've done a lot.
Oh, okay. I
We
like
did do
that.
2. Yeah, we did that. Just like that Nooner Day 2 was that second in 1 year.
First,
First
they
one
ran
was
one
at-
in the middle.
First one was at what? Jimmy C's?
No, it was Eddie Martinez.
Oh, Eddie Martinez.
Eddie Martinez.
Okay.
But I didn't go to that
Who
one.
booked that one?
I didn't go to that one.
First one was at Eddie Martinez. Then we very quickly audibled to Carnivore,
Awesome
premier
decision.
steakhouse in all of
For over 15 years in Milwaukee.
Delicious.
Wagyu
Premier
Japanese.
destination for fine dining, the extensive menu with international, domestic Wagyu steaks, over 3,000 different wines. 3,000 different wines. Omar has his own wine too now.
I
Has
heard
his
about
own
that.
wine
I can't
that
wait
you
to
can
try
get
it.
there.
I can't wait to try
But
it.
the craft cocktail list is probably the best part. That special old fashioned they have. Omar and the gang at Carnival have something to meet and exceed even the finest taste buds and expectations. Where fine dining meets, Armin,
The modern experience.
only at Carnival.
I got it. See, I got something the first time. I got it now. Give
He
me a
got
credit on that.
something.
Got
Well, I
it.
got
Got
something
something
right.
Also, the espresso martinis, pretty solid for
Hey.
the adult Red Bull, pretty solid.
That's a very popular drink now, the espresso martini. Everyone's
The
doing
adult
that.
Red Bull.
Yeah, I like that.
The adult
delicious.
vodka Red Bull, because at some point you realize like
A little caffeine
maybe
here.
I don't want my heart palpitations all night long.
Well, for the ride with the Red Bull. Yeah, exactly. Yeah.
No, from the vodka. All
No,
right,
I know
forward.
what you mean now. Well, yeah, I was never
Let's
a huge,
just hit the music.
I was never a huge Red Bull guy. But at least Red Bull's still doing the things where they break all kinds of like extreme sports records. They still sponsor all those like longest high jump in the world,
Sure.
or like ski jump in the world. It's always Red
They're
Bull.
big in F1, which has got to be the stupidest racing of all time, John. No one passes anybody. There's no Tyler Reddicks in Formula
No,
One
whoever-
who are bleeping themselves all day long.
Whoever
Put it on you.
wins the pole position just wins, especially when it rains, because then they just spray everybody in the face and watch them drive around the course blind the whole time. It's wild. It's
Yet,
wild.
yet it's extremely popular. So I don't know how to explain that. I mean, I know what you're saying, Billy, and I get it, but people love F1. Some people love F1. Like it's just a huge.
No, they like the reality show. There's
That's
no
true.
way you
That's
watch
true.
the race and say that's entertaining. Like nobody does anything.
Okay.
They just fly
I believe
around at a
so.
high speed.
The race
no
is
turning.
like 2 hours. 2.5 hours. You probably watch about 3 laps, and you're like, "Holy cow, that is amazing!"
Yeah.
And
it's
then
like,
you
okay,
watch like 76 more, and you're like, "All right, it's the same as the first 3 laps."
cool. Yeah, like
That's
I
just
mean,
my take on it.
there's no NASCAR rubbing is racing, baby. I mean, like you're seeing some people go back and forth, bobbing and weaving, ducking each other into the wall. F1, everyone just barely passing. I'm just
I get your point.
snoozing through. It is what it is, but it's also a 5
Well,
a.m. sport. So
I'm not going to pick F1 for my
Let's not
can't
do
miss
that.
here today, presented by Potawatomi Casino Hotel Sportsbook. I'll just remind you that the Sportsbook is the biggest and best sportsbook outside of Vegas with a 2,000 square foot it's curved LED screen. Think about big curved things, and that's what it is. Just right there on the wall for you to
Awesome.
enjoy all your game entertainment and do it in style in the luxuries of good food, good drinks, couches, lounge chairs, cocktail tables, big pacing area for you to walk around,
Great
Poker room
pacing
to the
area.
right.
It's my favorite
that's my
part.
poker room to the right. But the most important thing is the 7 different chaos off the second and third level. You can just walk your way in, make a pick, walk yourself right back out. They got everything for you at Potawatomi Casino Hotel Sportsbook for the one that wants to come and stay and the one that just wants to come conquer and take back off. Okay, here we go. Today, I'm going to do the little good fortune for the Milwaukee Brewers, who find themselves currently, as we start today, 1/2 game out of a bye. 1/2 game out of a bye. But after today, I think they're going to be 1/2 game in for a bye, because I got the Philadelphia Phillies losing at Toronto today. Toronto's catching 1.5. Toronto Blue Jays to beat the Phillies, the Brewers to beat the Cardinals, and then we will be right back into that 2 seed, ready to take aim at the 1 seed. Armin, sorry.
So that's a parlay we're doing?
I'm
sorry,
just predicting that.
Oh,
I'm
oh,
I'm
okay.
taking the Blue Jays. I'm taking
Blue Jays money line, right? Or did you have
No,
a
I
run
got-
line?
I got the run line.
Run
plus
line.
1.5. It's the can't miss, not the.
I know.
I
just
want to
said,
risk
like-
it for a little extra dollars.
You said a bunch of things there. So when you go to the nice friendly tellers there, the ticket writers at Potawatomi Sportsbook, you got to be clear, John, because they're going to ask you again, is this the bet you want? And then you're going to say yes. So I'm just making sure we know. We got the Blue Jays in the run line. Let's go. Is
Did you
that
take notes on that one, John?
well? I just want to make sure that everybody
Where
knows
this goes. Come
because
on.
I got Blue Jays plus 1.5 because I got people will call and ask what was John's pick. So there you
That's
go.
what it
Blue
was.
Jays
That's what it
plus 1.5. There you go. And I have good news to report. Very good news to report. I was down there taking my can't miss. The Corbin Burns outs recorded under, which smashed, by the way. Easy bet. And you guys know, obviously, the Coon Dog used to be on the Street Eats menu upstairs. They got it down at the Sportsbook menu right? The kitchen. And now it comes with a side. Did you know that? It comes with a side. The Coon Dog comes with a side. So I think that's a great value for $12.
There we go.
Coon Dog and a side for $12. You can't beat that.
Damn, did I piss off a subsection of our listeners here?
Uh-oh.
Guys, please stop with F1. You don't know enough. The last race was GP Italian.
I told you.
The last 5 pole sitters haven't won the race. Because goodness gracious, the barrister said the guy that was in the 3rd position won the race this week.
How about Leonard?
What an
The
exhilarating
guy in first got a
comeback.
flat tire. He got a flat tire.
I know, he
I
came
don't
in
know.
second.
I tried to sit
Wow.
down and watch an F1 race with my brother-in-law who was hyping it up on a Saturday morning one time.
Oh my
I
God.
told you
Couldn't.
guys, people like it.
And I mean it. I sat there. It's like, okay,
Yeah,
okay.
that's
And
it.
when do we see something different?
Thank you. And then we get Leonard. Yeah, I'm going to take my motorsports advice from a guy that watches professional wrestling. Probably should. I mean, you want to watch something more entertaining, more physical, watch NASCAR.
Well,
I
he
mean,
has
like,
a
not even
point.
close.
He has a point, though.
What is the point?
The point was that, like, you're not a racing guy. So what are you going to say about racing, you know?
I don't know who on this radio show goes to races.
Okay, I meant you're not an F1 guy. Yes, you do like NASCAR. I know that.
Oh,
Or
I'm
you
a
do like-
motorsports guy.
You are a motorsports guy. You just think that
I don't know anything under the hood, John. My dad's very disappointed with me when he pulls out that Intimidator,
you love that.
holding up number 3 for Dale
I've
Earnhardt.
seen you drive that.
You got to be kidding me.
Okay, we got to play this. Tyler, everybody's talking about the Tyler Herrick audio. Speaking of NASCAR,
Tyler Reddick.
Reddick. Tyler Herrick's a different guy.
Yeah,
Sorry,
Tyler Herrick,
Tyler.
Cheesehead TV.
Yes, Tyler Reddick. I'm just gonna play it. Yes, he won his. That was the Jordan car, by the way. Jordan racing team. He found something he's good at post retirement. Jordan, happy to see that, right? I gotta give
That's
Tyler
awesome.
a lot of credit. It's hard enough when you're at the pharmacist to keep track of all the directions. Now take it with water. Now he's basically getting all this information about how to take the medication while he's driving over, like, I don't know what, 100 miles an hour, like some incredible amount.
A
So
little bit more than 100 miles an hour.
I said
mean,
over.
come on.
I said over. I don't know the exact numbers because I don't want people coming at me. All right.
Ryan. Tyler Reddick finished 10th, by the way. Top 10 finish in that flu game. That's awesome. That's fantastic work.
Yeah.
You did mention Michael Jordan. Much better race car owner than he is NBA owner.
I know you wanted to say that.
Interesting how that goes. I'm excited to see LeBron do it way better than Jordan did. 414-799-1973. That's John Kuhn. I'm Billy Schmidt. Armin Sarian's right there. It's 9 to noon on the game. 9 to noon on the game. Really, really aggravated a large subsection of the fan base during the last segment, but I, for one, love it. It's one of my favorite things to do. It's also one of my favorite things to talk football with John Kuhn and Armin Sarian here on 9 to noon, as well as some baseball. Brewers big weekend over the weekend, being able to watch Jackson Chourio once again yesterday on Labor Day. Grand salami. Now he is, guys, now has 2 grand slams before the age of 21. Mike Vasallo gives us all these little news and nuggets, PR director and media relations head for the Milwaukee Brewers. When you look at the company that Jackson Chourio, though, now has put himself in, when you start looking at the other guys that have hit that amount of grand slams before their 21st birthday, you're talking about a list that features, I don't know, Alex Rodriguez hitting 3. Yeah, not bad company to be in. Mickey Mantle, not bad.
Good
Hall
player.
of Famer.
Good
Seems
player.
decent. Vladimir Guerrero Jr. seems pretty good. Now, the 2 guys here, Tony Congigliaro and Faye Thornberry. Armin, I'm not familiar with all their albums. However, they sound amazing if they're hitting multiple grand slams by the time they turn 21 in the big leagues. Jackson Chourio, yesterday, John, I said, I cannot wait to watch this young man play baseball in Milwaukee for the next 8 to 9 years, because he is a true gift from the baseball gods, it feels like, for the Milwaukee Brewers. You put in your time, you do things the right way, you try to scrap, fight, and claw with a bunch of marginal pitchers and a bunch of guys in your bullpen that have been DFA'd, and then we're going to drop you the most exciting young player in baseball, and oh, by the way, you're going to sign him to what feels like a steal of a contract before he even takes an at-bat in the major leagues. Great on you, Brewers. Great on you, Brewers. Thank you very much. Love them.
If you told me we had to play September yet, and the Milwaukee Brewers would be, what are they, 24 games over 500?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
24 games. They'd be 24 games over 500. They would have 4 players in the lineup not named Christian Yelich with a WAR of over 3, one of which is Bryce Terang, one of which is a rookie, and one of which was Willy Adames. I'd have told you were plumb crazy. And if you told me that the pitching staff was actually better this year than last year, I'd have told you were plumb nuts. Everything about this team has been fun. It's been the most pleasant surprise I have had covering any team that had been in this state. I'll be honest, any team, the most pleasant surprise. And last year's Packers were a pretty damn pleasant surprise, but they had a 42-day stretch where I started sweating myself and getting, the Tums out because it was bad. This team, and what I just said, 4 players in their lineup with a WAR of over 3 with the whole month to play yet, and a pitching staff performing better than last year's team. It's hard to believe that this is where we are at.
It also features right now one of the best players in baseball, and his name's Willy Adames, going into his contract year, going into free agency. There is not a better time to have the best year of your career if you're Willy Adames than he is right now.
Yeah, especially the way he's doing it with the power from the shortstop position. It's
and
incredible.
The stupidly clutch gene that he seemingly has. 13th 3-run homer yesterday. Now that ties Ken Griffey Jr.'s all-time Major League Baseball record for amount of 3-run homers in a season. He also does it on his birthday, by the way, and homers in 5 consecutive games. Like, this is and I saw this a lot, and I don't mean to be the Eeyore here in this situation. You ride the out of Willy Adames.
Oh yeah, you
ride the absolute hell out of him. And then you say, Willie, thank you so much for all your amazing contributions to the Milwaukee Brewers.
Can't we get to the end of the season before we? But can't we get to the end of the season before we make the tough decisions? Can't we get to the end?
I don't think it's all that tough. Like, I'm congratulating
him.
Can we?
No, it's tough.
Season.
No, that's actually not a decision. It wouldn't be a decision. It'd be a realization, I think. Because I don't think there's a decision.
Can't we get to the end of the season, though? Do we have to do this now? We have September to just have fun, and then we have October to chew our fingernails off for. Can we get through this action before we start talking some hard conversations.
We had this all season before the trade deadline that the Brewers might
Oh,
trade him
yeah.
because of that. Now I'm cool that they did it because they wanted to stick this one out with him.
Very cool that they did.
I'm cool
Very
with that.
thankful they did.
That being said, I would have understood if they traded him as well, but I'm cool that they didn't. I like that we're going to see this thing out. We're not going to do a repeat of the Hader thing. Willie's been great. He continues to be clutch. He will get a lot of money, Billy, and it probably won't be us. But I'm not going to give up on that either. Now, you might be giving up on it, all right? Now, I don't care. No, don't do this to me, all right?
Armin,
We got the
it's
in-law
not-
thing with Contreras. Didn't you see Hunter's tweet? He's really good friends with Freddie. You never know, okay? Maybe the
Yeah.
Brewers...
So you're not with me on let's wait till this ride is done before we start picking our next ride. Can we just get done this, Armin? You're just choosing to debate him right now and say,
Well, we're here.
Willie should take a home team discount.
We're here. I'm just saying I'm not going to give up on it yet. Now you're right. Let's wait. I don't want to think about
I'm
that
with that.
either.
I'm with that.
Okay,
Yeah.
it's not the, you know what?
I'm just
Yes.
saying,
You know
like-
what? The end of the summer is coming after high school. We might all go our separate ways. But you know what, John? Let's not worry about that till we actually have to go our separate ways.
Enjoy the hell out of the last month of school.
Yeah.
And we're going to go to every barbecue and we're hanging out with all of our friends. And guess what? We're going to be the tightest group that there's ever been going into the end of summer.
love
and then,
that.
once we all move in, then, some people go here, some people go there, some people go here, some people go over there. Like, he is having the typical career year in a contract.
It
year.
is typical.
You say congratulations. That is amazing.
Oh,
and
that's typical that people
Well-
have career years in a contract year.
He hasn't been like a non-performer though, Billy, before this year. Yes,
what was his
having
batting average last year?
He's having a really good year.
Seemed like 40 points higher than he
Oh,
did last year.
He's definitely hitting higher than last
He's got
year.
more RBIs than he ever has in his career.
He's definitely having a better year than last year, but overall his career numbers aren't that far, below what he's doing this year.
for a full season.
Yeah.
There's a month left.
Yeah, no, wait a minute. 2021, he had a really good year with the Brewers. Now he got traded to
He
us.
needs what, 2 more bombs?
I'm saying his defensive WAR is down this year, for instance. It was higher. So contribution-wise, it's similar. Yes, he's having a better offensive year than he has, I think, since 21 or 20. It's up there. The OPS is 812. Fantastic. He's also taking walks now a little bit more than he used to, which is kind of an interesting thing. The walk rate's better. It is a contract type year in that sense, Billy. But I still think he could perform for a team that's going to sign him. Maybe not to this level.
Absolutely. But he's gonna get the biggest
gonna get a
possible
big-
contract
It's going to
ever.
be a lot of money.
Much different than what it would have been if he would have done it last year. Now they didn't, and
yeah.
I was not all that in on trying to go long term, big time with that dollar amount. Proving everybody wrong. And like again, I don't mean it in a disparaging tone. You just say, dude, people are going to remember you in remarkable fashion. Just dominate this run, and then who knows? I
Fair.
mean, he could be right now if this continues on this final year. Like what he's putting together is Walk of Fame worthy. If they do something incredibly special this year, and he'll be honored as a Milwaukee Brewer for the rest of his career. It's not necessarily a bad thing. If we're going to say market size and we're going to lean in and talk glowingly about them ditching Corbin Burns,
Yep.
then you also have to look at the shrewd business side of it. And this is how you do business if you're going to be the Milwaukee Brewers.
He's had a 14 WAR in 4 years.
They're
That's
about
pretty
to dominate too.
pretty good. So if he can pick it up and keep it up,
Also, Chicago Cubs. Let's keep watching them lose games in good fashion. Now they had won 6 in a row.
they won
9
6 in a
10.
row. It looked like they were going to 7. They blew it
And
yesterday.
then Andrew McCutchen hit a long home run into the bleachers at Wrigley Field. We like that. 3.5 games back are Council's Cubs in the wild card. I know I joked about it with Mike Heller just to raise some heart palpitations. Let's maybe not see them.
Agreed.
Let's maybe not see the Cubs.
But
I'm okay
yeah.
if we don't see the Cubs there.
But
I will maybe run from that night.
But they do this in August now pretty consistently. They had their one hot month to get excited, and
Yeah.
then they usually fade. So I'm
Now-
waiting for the fade now.
Hopefully the fade comes, and hopefully it's not Craig Timber for them down there. Hopefully it's all Brewers victories and the magic number down to 14 already for your crew back on the field. 6:40 start tonight. School's back in session, so the game's got to start a little earlier. 6:40 first pitch. Brewers and Cardinals tonight from AM Fam Field, or as it might be now referred to as the Brewers just hit grand slams, Slam Fam. That
I
might
like
just be
that.
the easiest way to go for the Milwaukee Brewers fans.
I like
414-799-1973. It's 9 to noon. We'll wrap things up, head for home, and also say au revoir. Is that how you say it in Portuguese to John Kuhn as he heads down to Brazil for Packers and Eagles?
Yep, that was French.
They're not saying that in Portuguese.
You said au revoir. That's French, I think.
Correct.
I'm pretty sure.
Yeah.
They say, I don't know what is it.
I
in
was just
Portuguese?
testing to make sure you guys were listening.
No, I
so
appreciate
I
that.
didn't see that there was a whole lot. going on.
Adios, hasta luego.
I'll look it up. I don't know Portuguese. I just knew that was French.
Glad you did. It's 9 to noon on the game. 9 to noon on the game. Appreciate you hanging out with all of us. 414-799-1973. Our NicoletLaw.com talking text line robust with reaction to our NFC and AFC predictions throughout the day. Bob in Minneapolis, John Kuhn said, NFC, agree with Billy. Packers in the NFC championship game. Now, well, he would also agree with John because the Packers are in both of our NFC championship games. He also then said, though, but I believe the Packers play the LA Rams, John Kuhn. Packers will win with a winning drive. Love will look like Joe Montana. Packers, he says Packets, Packers and Jets in the Super Bowl. Game will be won at the buzzer. Love wins it for the Packers. That's Bob in Minneapolis. Now, I love
That's
that
the script. That's the script everybody's talking about. Packers, Jets, Packers win at the buzzer. That's the script that people are talking about. The NFL has put out there, the quote unquote script. Again, I got Packers, 49ers, Packers advancing. Got to get over that hump of the 49ers in the playoffs. Then I have Chiefs, Ravens, with Ravens advancing, getting over the hump of the Chiefs in the playoffs. And then I got Packers, Ravens, with Packers beating the Ravens
that's awesome.
in the Super Bowl this year. I just got a special feeling. I got them going through Philadelphia. I got them going through Atlanta. I got them coming from the wild card position. All things very similar with that 14-year trend that the Packers like to win Super Bowls on. Every 14 years, it's our year.
I like that trend a lot more than me repeating the last time the Super Bowl was in New Orleans and the lights going out and the Ravens and Niners playing each other. However, if it ends with the 49ers having more heartbreak,
You'll take it?
I will take it.
Yeah.
Now, I would prefer that it be Green Bay because all week long, while we're in New Orleans getting everybody excited for Super Bowl 59, we'd be talking about the Packers playing the Baltimore Ravens in Super Bowl 59. That sounds a lot more fun than talking more about the San Francisco 49er team, which I hate. Like, I mean, there
You
are
really do. You can't stand them.
I despise San Francisco. Now, I don't know that it's as much of the hatred that some people have for like a Kyle Shanahan or John Lynch and everything like that.
Sure.
I also want to see them continually drive their head into said wall. Like, they've been so close. And I just was reading Matt Lively, who covers the 49ers, say it earlier on Twitter, and he put it out this way. Trent Williams, back. Brandon Ayuk, back. Defensive line has been bolstered. Brock Purdy enters this year at 100% first time as a starter. Rookie class looks promising. Maybe not Ricky Pearsall. 49ers have no excuses. Roster won't be this talented a year from today. And I think that's a fact. Like, at some point, these checks are going to come due. And I hope that it is in dramatic fashion again, that they blow this thing right at the doorstep of finally getting that next Super Bowl for the San Francisco 49ers. I mean, they have been really close the last like 3 decades. And I, for one, really hope that it continues for them having misery. And it would be even better if it was the Packers adding that misery, John, in your example, or if it all of a sudden is like our guy Bob in Minneapolis, who has an infatuation with Jordan Love being Joe Montana.
Yeah, he
Joe
loves that comparison.
Montana-esque in Santa Clara against the 49ers. Woo-hoo! Sign me up for that book. I don't read a whole lot, but I'll read that script.
Yeah, I just we need to get over this hump now.
It's gotta
has
happen.
been- This goes back to McCarthy days of not getting past
Mhm.
San Francisco, Aaron Rodgers
Yep.
days of not getting past San Francisco. Now it's Matt LaFleur days and Jordan Love days of not getting past San Francisco. Well, no more, my friends. It's time for us to take that leap.
Yeah, I mean, this is, Armin, you say you really hate San Francisco. This is like kids growing up in the 80s and 90s hating the Dallas Cowboys.
Yeah, it's the same idea. I mean that was the
only
bugaboo.
the only team that has consistently ended Packers seasons in my lifetime, in my sports watching fandom, have been the 49ers.
Yeah.
They're the only team that consistently is the thorn in the side that we can't get over. So
Yeah, that's like the
Needed
kryptonite.
to
That's
happen.
same with the Cowboys in that era. That was like the kryptonite, the Bowser, whatever it was. Couldn't get over it until you did. So the funny thing about it is the Packers had a really nice streak going in the playoffs against the Niners in the 90s. Like, that's how Niners fans thought about the Packers. And then it
Mhm.
kind of flipped on it. So let's flip it back. Why not?
That's what I'm
reverse that
talking
thing
about.
back again.
let's flip that thing back and then start dominating this one. Hey, John, you dominate this flight to Brazil coming up and this great trip. Now, we're going to try to tap in with you at some point, but hey, man, I don't want you getting into any issues here. All right. So if you're sending tweets through,
no. Yeah, listen,
just be
Twitter-
careful here. All right. Be careful.
Twitter is deleted on my. Actually, I'm gonna.
Smart
think
man.
of-
Yes.
I'm gonna think of one good tweet before I leave, very, very, very early tomorrow morning, and I'm gonna get that out as my last tweet. then I'm deleting the app from my phone.
Smart.
I'm deleting it from my phone because guess what people do when they sit down on the toilet?
Starts
They
rolling.
click.
They can't help
click-
themselves.
They click that. It's a reaction. It's like, okay, well, I might be here for 2 to 3 minutes. Let's see if I can scroll on something really quickly. No. I don't even want that accident. It
I'm
will be
so happy.
deleted. It will be
Yes.
deleted from my phone before we even take off. So I got to think up one good juicy nugget before I get out of here.
I'm excited for it. We're going to be following along.
But I
at
will
Coon
be-
J30 for that one.
But I am going to be texting Armin stuff to put out
Okay. Like Coons can't misses and maybe a Packers
on my
+3.
account.
Oh,
we'll see. I don't know if I'm ready for that. The way that Matt was nervous about it, Schneidman, I don't know if I'm ready for all that.
It's
Plus, I'll
just
be
the
busy.
Just be the
VPN.
proxy.
It's the VPN coming from the US. They don't care.
Just be the proxy. You'll be fine.
We'll see.
You'll be fine.
We'll
Nothing
see.
bad ever happens to the proxy, Armin. You'll
That's
be
true.
okay.
It'll happen to John. Yeah, whatever.
That might happen to you. For John Kuhn, safe travels, man. That's going to be a long flight. And it's going to be an early morning. We are very, very excited for Packers football. Be safe on that flight. That is John Kuhn. Armin Sarian and I will be back tomorrow and through the rest of the week. We got more You Better You Bet, more Kuhn's Can't Misses, more NFL conversation, and Brewers wins to go through. We'll talk about all of it coming up with Mike Heller when we hand it off to Heller right after this. You got the game.